you have performing products or categories, and you really want to boost something in your blog that might convert customers even better, then you can also do that. By the way, all of this is, I guess you could call it the foundations. The last thing I would want you guys to do is just to go back home and start, implementing all this stuff, because again, it varies per website, it varies per, platform that you're using. Other ways is to sculpt the link equity. So let's say, for example, you have your blogs, you have your product pages and all of your other pages, and you're doing content marketing, for example. You want to be aware of what pages are performing best, like I said earlier. Because this is a chance for you to really sculpt where that authority and those signals go. So it's important for you to know how your site is performing, how your pages are performing, and how your blogs are performing as well. Because blogs can be major converters, especially for e-commerce, because they're more long tail. When people purchase stuff, like for example me, last night I was on Lazada. I wanted to buy a charger that had 5 USB ports, and it looked crappy on the picture because it's from China and all that. Like my clicker was made in China, and obviously it didn't work. Right? Unfortunately for my clicker, there wasn't any reviews that I could find, so I just living on the edge here. Let's do it, $900. So yeah, so for that, you want to make sure that you're aware of those pages, because the long term or the long tail terms that I see, for example, in this case, Logitech, model number, clicker review. So that's the type of stuff that's informational, and it's easier to rank for those terms in your blogs. So those are typically link methods. Interlink brand pages and product pages. This is something that will provide you with better rankings for, let's say you have a variety of shoes, right? You have Nike, you have Adidas, and you have maybe Reebok. For Nike, under Nike, you have sports shoes, I don't know, running shoes, whatever. So it's important for you to interlink these pages, again, for context. Because your pages that you're trying to rank for red shoes or running shoes or whatnot could be ranking, but you also want to make sure that your brand pages are also ranking for search terms like maybe Nike shoes, the more generic kind of terms. So again, another way of interlinking, it's important for you to understand that authority goes down and context goes up. So this is one example. So again, visualize your website map, understand your page types, and take note of powerful pages with tremendous amounts of link activity. So this is the first tip for this section of the presentation. You really have to understand it. You have to understand how they're performing and how you can take advantage of the link activity that is happening between these domains and your own. So another issue that's common with e-commerce is faceted navigation. You guys familiar with faceted navigation? I would say no. Okay. So what is it? So for example, you have Lazada. By the way, I love Lazada. That's why I reference them a lot. They're not a client, so yeah, you can steal them. Stuff doesn't matter. So yeah, so you have Lazada. This is typically what you see. This is your navigation. So here, these are all, later on you'll find that these are all SEO friendly landing pages. Meaning, if someone were to search, for example, they're looking for something generic, like mobile phones. They search that in Google. These are the types of pages that can rank for that because those are high volume keyword terms. So these are good. The only problem is when you have the faceted navigation, which is, in this case, actually that's incorrect. Because sometimes brand pages, if you see that data is showing that it's performing and there are search terms for it, then you would want to make those SEO friendly URLs. But to show you faceted, there we go. That's the same. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier. So you can tell. It's all optimized. So it's all optimized URLs because these are important pages for them. These are landing pages for the generic search terms. And when you go to the bottom portion of your navigation, this is where things get interesting because now you have storage capacity, you have screen size. By the way, these are just two. With Lazada, they have OS, they have a bunch of other, I guess, filters that you can use to find something that you're looking for easier. It's good for user experience because it allows you to really filter out things to something specific that you're looking for. The problem is sometimes e-commerce websites, when you click on one, for example, it gives you this. It's a parameter URL. You guys can see that. Parameter URL storage capacity _ new equals 10 MB. So okay, that's not an SEO friendly URL. Even that one. This is where it gets even more annoying because when you select multiple filters, it just appends it to the last filter. So that becomes a problem because one, later you'll realize that crawl budget is something that you really need to take care of. And if your website is crawling a bunch of these URLs and none of your SEO friendly URLs, then that's a problem. And again, it's just appending and appending. It's never ending. So it's never ending URLs. So one tip, understand your page types. Really understand, again, the structure of your website. What is your category pages? What are your category pages? What are your subcategory pages? It's not enough to just understand that. It's also, I would urge you guys to really understand and map the keywords against those pages. So really understand your page types, map your key terms, seek new opportunities of how you can, I guess, rake in more traffic. For example, you have brands. Under brands, you have shoes, shirts, those are your category pages, and then you have your product pages. So what if someone is searching for a term that's not optimized for those pages? That's why this is where keyword research comes into play. So you might be searching for, let's see, Nike smartwatch. It's difficult because of the examples I gave you. Nike smartwatch 2015, whatever, 2015. So, but you don't have that page for your user to land on. It's not, your other pages aren't optimized for it. But if there's 500,000 searches for the variations of that search term, then doesn't it make sense for you to maybe create a page type for it, right? So again, seek new opportunities of how you can optimize even further and rake in more traffic. Review parameters. Actually, this is not supposed to. Yeah, okay. Review parameters, understand the parameters. You have your filtered navigation earlier. Be aware of what those parameters are, because later on you'll learn, when you get into it, you'll learn why. But understand your page types, understand your parameters, and as well as your organic traffic. Organic traffic is the most important one, by the way, because before you do any change at all, you need to know how much traffic is coming in. Because a small change could lead to maybe de-index pages, maybe a drop in traffic. And with bigger websites and bigger brands and e-commerce sites, we're not talking about 1,000, 2,000 peso loss here. We're talking about millions. So really understand your organic traffic and review your crawl data. Later, I'll show you some crawl data techniques, examples. Parameter URLs. So again, sample parameters like earlier, question mark storage capacity. There's 10 MB, there's 240 gigabytes, there's camera up front, 1 to 2 megapixels plus the capacity, and again, it goes on and on. So here's an example that it's actually a video. I guess it's not relevant because you can't really see anything here. So we'll just skip it. But it's basically just showing you, when I click on the important pages, which is the category pages, you'll see that it's really optimized. But for the other pages, or for the other faceted navigation, you can see that it's using parameter URLs. And in the end, it'll show you how they deal with it, which is basically, it could be canonicals, using canonicals. It could be using, no index, or maybe no follow. Depends on the website and the strategy. I'll skip that for you. So you might be thinking that, what the hell, parameters, right? I mean, it's good for user experience. Yeah, but for SEO, it's horrible. But that's not exactly true. So parameters aren't bad. They really aren't. For example, this is something that shows you. This is a previous parameter URL. Let's just say it's question mark color, for example, color. So this was them initially. By the way, this is 90 days. This was them initially, and then we controlled it. We said, okay, what we're gonna do is, create better landing pages because the traffic is there, the search terms are there. So why use a parameter URL, right? So you can see it gradually declining to the point where it was zero, almost zero. And by the way, I'm using Search Console because it provides me with a better view of where your placement is, if it's being clicked, impressions. Then I'm comparing that to analytics. This is what happened after. So you can see that impressions went up significantly, clicks went up significantly. And this is why parameters aren't really bad. They're good at least to identify opportunities. And it's just up to you on how you're going to find the data to prove it. So handling parameters, how do we handle it? So main types of parameters. We have parameters for tracking. For example, are you guys familiar with UTM codes? Yeah. So when you share like a blog post on Facebook, for example, you want to track anything, you could use a UTM tracking parameter. So that's one example. Another is sorting. When you sort, for example, a listing page, you're on, for example, Amazon. It depends on parameter. So that's an example of parameters. Pagination, which is when you have multiple pages of the product listing. So page 1, page 2, page 3, that's also a type of parameter. And earlier, faceted navigation and filters. So controlling it, there's a few ways to do that actually. And by the way, don't just optimize for Google and don't just configure for Google. Always go with Bing as well because they have some tools that you can use, to make everything seamless between these two search engines. So this is Bing in their webmaster tools. You can see ignore URL parameters. But again, be careful with ignoring parameter URLs because your parameter URLs could still be performing. They could still be bringing traffic, conversions, and whatnot. And if you ignore it, then obviously all of that's going to go away, and the client will be happy. In Search Console, you have URL parameters. I like Search Console better because they're more flexible. It allows you to configure it in a way where it really helps search or tells Google what type of parameter is it. Is it a type of pagination? Is it something that we should ignore? Is it something that we should still crawl? Or should we only crawl a specific value? So that's why I like Search Console. It's more flexible. So in Search Console, you can see examples. Like for example, you can see all of your parameters, which I should have probably included, but it shows you how much parameters are being monitored. So you can imagine 303 million. That's a lot of parameters. So if you have, again, crawl budget, your website isn't really being crawled. Like all of the web pages aren't being crawled all the time. So crawl budget is really important here. And if they're all crawling all of these, then that's a problem. So again, you can set a spec where you're telling Google, okay, this is specifying, like for example, your parameters for page equals, meaning for paginated pages. There's some other options in there that could tell the search engine for paginated pages. But you can also say this page is specifying, it's narrowing down on a specific category. So you can set that all there for crawl. You could let Google walk the site. You can say that, okay, this is a parameter, but here's a representative URL. So just crawl this one. You can also do that. So there's different ways that you can do it. And again, URLs monitored, that's important to know. So an example of what I was saying earlier, this is Google, by the way. If you can read it, which is hard. Does this parameter change page content seen by the user? We have a couple of options there. No, it doesn't affect page content. It's for tracking purposes. So all your UTMs, if you're controlling parameters for UTMs, you click no. So it's pretty straightforward, and it's easy to implement. But before you do any of this, really try and understand the parameters first, because it could mean completely blocking Google from crawling them to just calling a few. So you don't want to really mess with it. Again, these are the options that you can select. Does it sort? Does it narrow? Does it specify, translate, aggregates, or maybe it's something else? And the reason why I'm showing you this is some of you might think that, it's Search Console, you know about this, but you'd be surprised of how many people and how many websites don't even have this feature. So I just wanted to make sure that it's in here. Also, again, don't just optimize for Google. Check Bing out as well. So if you have parameter URLs, make sure Bing is aware of it too. It's a little bit more strict because it's just basically saying ignore these URL parameters, but you can test it a little, and again, understand your parameters before doing it. So another form of a solution for parameter URLs for the pagination pages for parameters is rel-next prep. This provides Google with a strong hint to Google that this is a logical sequence. You're just basically saying, okay, Google, this is, I have these listing pages, page 1, page 2, page 3, they're all connected, just use page 1 as some, serve page 1 to users. So it just tells Google that it's a logical sequence. So it handles it accordingly. So again, this consolidates linking properties and acts in a similar fashion to canonicals. Canonicals we'll touch on later, but it acts the same way. So someone links to your page 3 for some reason. It's kind of like a canonical where it brings it back to page 1, or it's either view all page. You can also use a canonical or no index tag in addition to telling Google of your paginated pages. For example, page 2. Obviously, you don't want to do it for page 1. That would be that's not right. That would be funny. So page 2 and onwards, you could probably use a canonical pointing to view all page, or you can use a no index tag. I think the tag I use is no index, but yeah, it's something you can do. By the way, this is what rel-next prep looks like. So on the links, you can see that it's page 3. This is your next, and your previous is back to the first page.
What can I insert myself here for the SEOs? How many SEOs are in the room? Raise your hand. SEO. Okay. Just to make this simple for you guys, rel-next and rel-prep. Mark was saying Google has an index budget, right? Which means the number. So imagine your Google. You go to a page, you make a copy of it, you deposit it inside the mainframe. That's what you're trying to do. And every time a bot lands inside the page, crawls it from top down, left, right. Every time it sees a link, it follows the link. But it will not follow all the links. Every page has a specific amount of power. If the power is gone, no more links will be followed. So this is what Mark is trying to say, the crawl budget. Google will stop crawling other pages into that page if you have no more crawl budget for that specific page. Power is attributed not by domain, but page by page by page by page. So for the SEOs in the room, what rel-prep and rel-next do is logging gives you incidental rankings. Like take, for example, TrueLogic is ranking for several HR terms, which we're not supposed to because we're digital marketing. But we have more HR terms ranking than holy cow NLRC. So why do you want to use this? Because we might rank for blogs about business, we might rank for blogs about SEO, we might rank for blogs about HR. But all of that, so you have incidental rankings, you wrote something relevant, you will present it to users. But all of that is, let's say, like Adobo is a great example, right? You guys write about a bunch of stuff. Adobo is a great example. You guys write a bunch of stuff, but essentially, the page itself is relevant for something broad. Like take, for example, Philippine news, Philippine IT news, um, social media news, lifestyle news, or whatnot. It is broadly relevant for that term. Using these codes allows you to keep the specific page relevant for the broad term, even though the ranking follows the page as it gets deeper. Does that sort of make sense? There are two types of web pages when you build them. You have a web page that is page type, which means it's static. However much power it has, it will have forever, unless you have slide, you gain more leads, you want more leads to it on your site. But there are also pages that are called post types. The difference between the two is one has a time limit in terms of power. A post type page becomes less powerful over time. Doing this allows you to consolidate the power on a post type page because you typically get archived. So you regain the broad, high volume term against the main page. But even when it archives, you still regain the little incidental rankings that you got for a specific blog page. So that's sort of why you do this. So that's just for the SEO information. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah. So yeah, am I going too fast?
No, go.
No, because I was told I only had like 30 minutes. A lot of slides here. All right. So yeah, exactly what Bernard was saying as well. Canonicals. Canonicals are, again, they're attribution parameters. These are basically uh, attributes, I guess you could call them, that if you have, for example, two pages that are duplicate or similar, for example, then obviously you don't want those two pages competing with each other or even Google crawling them because, duplicate content is an issue. So with canonicals, let's say you have page A and page B. Page A is your original. Page B is completely looks similar, maybe is an exact replica. Then you can also use canonicals that would hint to Google that tells them, okay, Google, this is a duplicate copy of this page, which is page A. So what that does is it transfers any link equity you have on page B back to page A because you're telling Google this is the original URL. Please index this one. And this probably you're using it for, I don't know, for let's say you have an email campaign or
It's a Halloween version of your page.
yeah, exactly. So canonicals, that's the way to deal with some of the issues that were mentioned earlier with parameters. But again, this is not a directive. It's not you telling Google do something. It's you telling Google try doing something because you could go wrong here. And a lot of e-commerce sites have this problem as well. We worked with one that they had probably about 200,000 products. Big websites, big brand, but surprisingly, everything was linking back to the home, or every canonical was pointing back to the home page. And again, it's a hint. If Google doesn't see, the similarities, then it won't honor them. So in that case, all of your canonicals might even not be honored because it has to be relevant. It has to be similar, if you will. So if you have a document page and your canonical and you're into a furniture page, for example, then that doesn't make sense. I mean, to a user, it doesn't make sense. And Google understands that, and it could choose to not honor it. So again, it's not a directive, it's a hint. Similar to Relnex Prep, it also consolidates link equity to the main canonical URL. Obviously, it could be a little bit diluted and not 100%, but it does consolidate your link equity. So in the examples earlier, you have parameters, like for example, question mark storage capacity equals, I don't know, 1 terabyte. On that page, this is what you would see. So it's pointing back to the nearest parent page, or the more, because it's a similar page, basically. It's just showing you a different order of things, probably. But again, be careful because you want it to be relevant and you want it to be specific, and not go back to the home page or link back to the home page using canonical. So make sure that the canonical URL doesn't contain redirects. A lot of times we lose control of redirects. Today you might redirect this page to this page. 3 months from now, you might not remember that. And all this time you're thinking, okay, yeah, this is a main page that doesn't redirect. So it's canonical into that. But it doesn't make sense because you're telling Google, okay, Google, this is the page to index. But then when it goes to that page, it redirects somewhere else. So it's just this chain of canonicals and redirects. So you want to make sure that, the best practice here is to make sure that you don't do that, and that you only canonical clean URLs. Don't canonical category, subcategory, or any other page to the home page. Again, you don't want to do that because it's not relevant. If you have Nike shoes page and your website is shoes.com, you're already specific to Nike, specific brand. Don't canonical back to the home page. Use canonical if the pages in question are identical or similar. Again, be very careful with this because in any event that they aren't, then it's a problem. I have to rush now because there's 10 minutes left. So there's a lot to tackle this on this stuff. So be careful with multiple declarations. You don't want to do this twice, or maybe even worse, 2 different URLs. And HTTPS canonical mistakes. So if you're already using HTTPS, but in your canonical you're pointing to an HTTP, then that's obviously another problem because your page should be in HTTPS already. I mean, that's if you're already using secure protocols. One other thing, like this is a good example. So you have these pages that are canonical to this page, this one's canonical to this page, but these are canonical to this page. So you can see how it's a chain here. It should canonical to the original page. So that's wrong. Crawl audits. So one does not simply hope you index. You can't just sit there and hope that Google will index it. It's always up to you to control it. Crawling is the first step to getting indexed. But what pages are being crawled? Have you guys seen this before? Yeah. A lot of people look at this, and I was one of them. When I would look at this, this was years, 3 years ago. I look at this and I'd be like, okay, what exactly am I looking at here? Okay, I see that the high is 3 million average, 1.7 low, and I can see this graph, but what does it all mean? To me, this doesn't give me much of an overview of what's going on. So it's important for you to check what's going on using crawl logs. So crawl logs for any developers in the house, you get this on the server, or if you have developers in the house, you can request it from them. So what they do is, let me back up a little bit. What they do is whenever your web page, your website is accessed, the crawl logs will log into that document or text pad, whatever you would call it. And the crawl logs will give you an idea of who accessed it, what page did they access, what is the status code of that page. So it's important for you to get that information because, again, crawl budget, Google only gives you a specific amount as to how authoritative your page is. It'll give you X amount. If your page isn't as authoritative, then it could be lower. So you really have to control this. When you get your crawl logs, sort it by search engine bot, for example, Bing bot or Google bot. That way you get a filtered view of whatever's data is going in. Look at what URLs are being accessed in crawl and look at the status code. So this is an example of one entry. I know I had to erase a lot of it so it's a screenshot. But this is typically what an entry in your crawl log would look like. So it gives you the IP, and it also gives you, in this case, the method, and then this is your URL. So it tells me, okay, this URL was accessed by Googlebot with a status code of 403, which is obviously it's not a live page. It's not a status code of 200 is what you usually expect or would want. So 403 is basically dead end 404. Tools for analyzing crawl logs, text editor, Excel. In some cases, when your crawl log is too big, for example, in that example earlier, there was 1.2 million entries. So the problem is, if it's a large file, it'll crash. It won't open in your text pad, or even in Sublime, which is a development text pad. So another is Docker ELK. This is on crawl has something like this. I'll show you a screenshot here. It requires a little bit of technical skill to set up. Another is Screening Frog. Screening Frog has something new. They have a crawl audit analyzer. It's new, so check that out as well. It's not too flexible. And you also have Terminal, grep, and AWK. So for me, this is the easiest one to do. And this is an example of Screening Frog. And what to look out for: crawl volume per bot, status codes, URLs being crawled, redirections, crawl budget, patterns, and crawl efficiency. So when you're looking at all of this data, you can see that, okay, Google is only crawling my URLs, or my parameter URLs. So that's bad, right? Because you want it crawling your important URLs. So you can start to see patterns. You can start to see, where the crawl efficiency is happening. And that's the important part with crawl data. This is on crawl. It shows you, if it was clear, it'll show you all the graphs and what they are. But it's basically status codes, the method, and this is terminal grep. So when you have a larger file, what you can do is you can use grep commands. And so, for example, you want to know the count of, let's say, parameter $page equals the paginated parameters. So you can use grep-c and then the parameter, and then you just type in the path of the text file that you have. And then it'll give you an actual count. There's also, and with this information, by the way, let's say you have 1.2 million URLs. And in this case, this was 1.1 million URLs. And so for this parameter, there was 461,650 that were being called. That's almost 50% of my pages. So you can see that it's a waste. Why aren't they crawling the SEO landing page, which is more important? So this is where you get a view. This is the closest that you can get. And again, don't just do it for Google. There's also these. So this is the one earlier that I was talking about. You can also create a separate text file to output everything there, and also AWK. So if you have multiple things that you want to find within a specific entry, you can filter your crawl logs. Don't just do it for Google. Also take a look at Bing. So you want to make use of all the data sources as much as possible. So tip, what to look out for, as I said earlier, rush, I'm sorry. Again, know your page types, important pages, parameters, traffic, and business requirements. Crawl logs will allow you to see the issues and patterns with crawling and immediately know your next action. So this is the best part about it. Once you see all of that data, you know where the problems are and you know what the next action should be. So again, also just to clarify page types as well, Bernard was mentioning earlier, it's also the path in which you have the pages. For example, your category page, that's a specific page. Your subcategory pages, that's another. So crawl data is the closest that you'll get to Google. Everyone wants to get close to Google. And this is the closest you can get. So you can actually trace where Google Docs is going. It's not a physical object again, but it's the closest you can get. So you now know the insights. What now? Controlling crawling. So this is an example that I got. it's Google telling me that I have a high number of URLs and they cannot crawl it. So again, that's another problem. So what do you do? There's two types of directives, crawl directives. There's domain level, page level, and this is basically robots.txt versus a no-index meta header tag. So I won't go through every single one of them, but give me 1 second. Again, I just want to point out, a lot of people say, okay, we want to remove these pages from the index. So let's use a robots disallow to do that. You shouldn't do that because robots isn't for the indexing of pages or a page. It could be that when you disallow a specific path or page, eventually it could happen that they remove it from the index. But if you're trying to remove it from the index, always use them in a header tab because, again, it's not for the indexing. It has a common problem, which is why I wanted to point it out. So this is an example of robots.txt. It's basically telling you, okay, Google, don't allow crawling of this path. Anything with the asterisk is any value followed by catalog search in JSON view asterisk. So don't crawl those pages. Basically what you're saying. On the other hand, you have meta header tag, which is no index, no follow. So this, initially it was an example or kind of like a little quiz, but past that, there's also X-Robots tag. If you have PDFs, for example, that doesn't have headers or whatnot, you can also use their X-Robots tag. Again, understand all your possible URL types. Check organic traffic from groups, paths within your website. Be aware of your SEO landing pages. Understand it, and if you can, memorize it, because this is important. Group your page type URLs. It's easier for reviewing. Draft a crawl and indexing strategy. XML sitemaps, pretty straightforward. You can basically submit a file with all of your URLs to Google. That way it's easier for crawling on their end. Limitations should be 50,000 per sitemap, no larger than 10 MB. And best practices, you can skip that, I'm so sorry. And common errors when you don't follow those best practices. URLs roboted out, blocked by robots.txt, doesn't make sense. Why do we need to worry about crawling? It's because of that. You want Google to crawl all of your SEO pages, all of your important landing pages, and not the parameters, not the tagging pages. Indexing. By the way, it's almost done. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
The more index pages Google retains, the better, right? Do you guys agree with this?
No, I don't.
No? 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 Okay, well, not necessarily. So yeah, that is a no. And that's because, again, you don't want all of your pages indexed. You only want the important ones. You don't want duplicates of, that could be cannibalizing search terms. Like, for example, you have 2 red shoes pages or category pages. This makes sense because it's just going to confuse search engines. So in Lazada's case, their product URLs are strange, actually, because their products, they have some products that are indexed. And in this case, this one is using a no index. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe for those that are indexed, there's maybe a small volume of those types of products where they could actually land them on the product page. But let's say you have 1 million of those products, it only makes sense for you to land them on the category page because, again, it's kind of like cannibalizing. So they're probably controlling these and how they rank. Index pages versus no index. Right. So, by the way, it's super almost done. Like 30 minutes ago, it was 10 minutes that remaining. Anyways, so 3 common page type treatments. You have these 3 types of situations. One is good for bots. type of page that's good for bots. One is good for users and bots. Another is only good for users. So an example of a page that's good for bots is, for example, you have a page, but it doesn't have any search terms. It's not ranking for anything. But for some reason, probably, there's a lot of links pointing to it. Then what you can do is just no index it. But Google's still going to follow it. An example for users and bots, these are your typical landing pages. So always index follow. For pages that are only good for users, maybe a marketing campaign or email marketing campaign, when the user clicks on a link on the email, lands them on an orphan page. This is for that. So it's not anything, orphan page isn't beneficial for bots, it's only beneficial for users. But in this case, you need to evaluate. What do you need to do with it? You have to know index it, you have to know follow it. So again, grouping your page types is important here. Search operators, we can skip this. Ranking. This is the fun part, ranking. So yay, you're ranking now, right? And again, technical SEO is something that you do on top of your on-page and off-page. So you could already be ranking for all we know. But when you do technical, chances are you're going to boost that. So if you're ranking for 100,000 search terms, try implementing some technical SEO. You might be ranking for 200,000. So it's not I'm not exactly saying that if you don't do this, you're not going to rank. That's not true. You could possibly do it. So now you're ranking. Yay! How's your click-through? This is the next step. So you need to make sure that it's optimized. You need to make sure that it's actionable. That you're getting the user's attention, trying to target their specific needs. And I have an example here. For example, anyone here from OLX? No? Right. So I was looking for examples. OLX. I was looking for a German Shepherd. New and used for sale.
And German Shepherd.
Why not? I mean, pre-owned, pre-loved. Pwede. Pero sausages, bacon, tapatosino. That's interesting somewhere here. Find more new and used sausages. And the best one that I have is toothbrush. Where is it? Wait, let me show you that. Yeah, toothbrush. Brand new and used for sale. This is something. It's funny. Yeah, well, that's it's strange because they're ranking for search results URLs, which is difficult to do. But this just shows that you need to put more thought into it. Make it actionable. That's not going to make me want to, purchase a toothbrush. Put some thought and tender loving in it. Again, the most important thing to remember here, if there's anything you're going to take home, is understand all of your page types. Understand your pages. What are the pages that are good for your SEO? What are the pages that are generating revenue, right? Because those are the pages that you need to take care of and that you need to get crawled and optimized. Don't waste your time anywhere else. Just understand your page types. So that was crawling, indexing, and ranking.
Go.
So we're hiring. So if you guys, if you want to learn more about SEO and e-commerce specifically, where we really focus on technical SEO as well, because usually with the bigger brands and bigger websites with millions of web pages, off page they're performing already. You could build some links there. Or on page, yes, you do that. But for technical, small tweaks make huge differences. So if this is something that interests you guys, it doesn't matter if you have experience or not. You might want to join us. So that's it, I think. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much, Mark Sampson. Does anyone have any questions? We're going to be opening the floor for any questions.
Any questions?
Meron pa ba? I think they asked a couple of questions while you were presenting, right? Or not?
No.
Not so much. We have a question right here in front.
Can you put some light on contextual support, horizontal and vertical? I don't have no idea.
Okay, so when, especially for example, navigation, you want to make sure that all your pages are linked vertically and horizontally. So for example, you have a category page of shoes. Under shoes, you have red shoes, blue shoes, black shoes. You should make sure that those are interlinked vertically into the category page, which is above it, and as well as other pages. So meaning it could be a different page, for example, a different brand. So you have Nike, you have Adidas. So Nike red shoes, make sure to link horizontally as well. So maybe Adidas red shoes. Make sure that the interlinking is seamless because what you're trying to do here is not just provide context, but also provide a better and more optimal path for link equity, any signals that Google might have. So it's distributed within your site. It's a better distribution. So,
I want to answer that. I'll make mine simple. There's a blog I'm trying to put out. I've had it for 2 years. It's never done. So you can't find it. But it is about Transformers stories. So, and I'm doing it because I want people to send me Transformers stories for me to review. I'm never gonna have time to review them. But have you heard of a silo structure? Silo. Is it familiar? Have you heard of latent semantic index? So Mark is talking about this related to the two topics. In 2013, Google released actually 2014, Google released a new search engine for Google. Its core feature is called latent semantic indexing. The original core feature of the search engine is called latent location. So why am I talking about this? LSI means the search engine reads your content and then understands the content. That is the key feature of LSI. The search engine saw the content and then it understands the content. So I want to rank for Transformers books. That's not easy. In order for that page to rank, you have to have content about Transformers toys and whatnot, right? And then you have to have it directly from your homepage or the page down to you. What we mean when we say context flows upward is if I want to rank for Transformers toys, supporting topics under that page must exist. Generations toys, masterpiece, Generations toys, masterpiece, combiner wars, Predator, and whatnot. The different toy collection lines for Transformers. If they exist under the main topic ranks better for two reasons. Google can read that the content supporting it. Google can read the content supporting it, therefore understanding this better. But the other is if the content is high quality, they are links. And they pass that upward. So that's what we mean. It's like Google understanding. If I said Batman Gotham City, Robin, hey Alfred, what is my main topic? Batman, right? Without you knowing. So it's the same feature. In the same way that if I give related topics, you're able to figure out the core feature. That's what LSI does, and that's why context flows upward. Did that make sense?
Thank you.
All right, anyone have one more question before we move on to break? Any more questions?
SEO question?
Yes, there you go.
Actually, this is related to what Bern said earlier about the when you're budgeting when you're creating our budget. Could you give a bit more explanation on how it runs out from page to page, like starts from your main page and then something and it goes to the next page and then but somehow the crawl button will shrink to the next page.
Right.
And then so on and so on and so on until it runs out. Could you give us more insight on how that happens?
That's a difficult question to answer. Who among you guys believe, who are the SEOs in this group? SEO. Who among the SEOs still believe in paid? Who among the SEO still doing page rank? So I'm still a big believer in page rank. So, right. So what's page rank? Page rank is a numeric representation of the authority of a specific page. So just to make that simple, Google labels every page with a certain amount of authority. The labels are 1090, 765, 0, and 8. That's it. So it goes from NA all the way to 10. So it's 12 numbers, 12 layers. The page rank is on a per page basis. It's not given to your domain. Each page has a specific page rank. The amount of page rank the page has determines its crawl budget. So take for example, you might have a domain that's page rank 7. But you wrote a blog that the blog receives no internal backlinks and does not receive a backlink coming from another website. Yeah, it's weak. As soon as people land on your homepage, under the assumption that your blog is featured somewhere, they'll follow into the blog. Because it's an NA, Google will probably only follow one link from your blog outward, then it's dead. The blog is dead. It has no power because it's coming from an NA page. But unlike your homepage, let's assume it's a page rank 7, even if that sucker had 100 links coming out from it, Google will follow 100 links. More than that, Google will not index an NA page frequently. The higher your page rank, the more frequently you're indexed. So typically, if you're page rank 3 or better, you get indexed every 3 days or less. If you're less than that, if you're NA 01, you're lucky to get indexed in about 7 days. And when I say you're lucky to get indexed, that means the number of times Google goes to your website, takes a fresh copy of that document on your website, and deposits it in the Google page rank. The more frequently that happens, the better you rank. So it's not likely to happen to NA pages, which is why NA pages don't usually rank. They don't index so much time.
Just to add, this is something I've been chasing after. So I mentioned company and it's the closest you can get to Google Bot. So you crawl budget there. What I've been trying to understand was obviously it doesn't just it doesn't just go from your home page and enters the home page and it goes down. It can go from any of your pages depending on the links that you might have pointed to your site, and if those pages are authoritative. So you can't really know where it enters. But this is why crawl data is important, because it gives you that view of what pages are being crawled. And then you can find patterns. So maybe you have a main category, and then you can see Google Bot go down to one of the subcategories inside. So you can start to see patterns. So this is why I'm a big fan of crawl data, because as soon as you know the problem, you already know the solution.
That's perfect. Yes.
All right, so we're going to be going into a 5-minute break. Thank you so much once again to Mr. Mark Sampson. One more thing now.
Burns for giving me a shameless plug. I mentioned now we're hiring, so we're looking for Java developers, PHP developers, front-end developers, SEO, senior SEOs, junior SEOs, people with outreach experience or good communication skills. Basically, for a lot of positions, even writers. So if you guys, want to work in a company with flexibility, then and you want to learn, then I think it's a good place to be. So feel free to just approach me.
Yeah. Eugene, update my slide.
Eugene, did you get that?
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for taking us. Once again, we'll be taking a 5-minute break. On my watch, it is 9:49. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Sorry, 8:49. I'm sorry. It's math kasi. Okay, so it's 8:49. We'll be back in 5 minutes. You can have more drinks. You can go to the restroom, and we will have a short talk before we move on to the next speaker later on. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Hindi daw ako. Ang bilis mag.
Just so happens. All good. Okay. Great to have you. Bernard. Yeah. See? Pastime. Yeah.
If ever that you have trash, please do throw it in the right place. We have a trash bin right there. We also have one outside to your left. So once again, we're calling everyone from outside. If you have friends, call them in because we'll be starting. We'll also be talking about what we have here from our sponsors. If it's a bit cold, just let me know. It is. Okay, we'll ask them to turn it down a little bit. It's not just a bit cold, it's really cold, okay. I'll ask them to turn it down in a bit, as long as you take your seats already. The people from the outside, I'm not a biter, I'm a hugger, so don't be afraid, just join us. Okay, while you're settling down, before we call on our next speaker, I'd like to call on one of our sponsors, Grub Street PH. He's going to be talking about if you're a food lover, who's here a food lover? I love food. Okay, food is love. My heart broken ako, andyan pa rin ang pagkain sa akin. So, at least. So we'll have Aaron here from Grub Street, and he's going to be talking about what he has in store for you if you are a food lover and kind of like a traveler.
Hi guys, welcome to SEO Shots. Again, I'm Aaron and I'm from Grub Street. We're basically a food bazaar. We're in the food bazaar business. You can find us in Santa Rosa, and we'll be opening one in Tagaytay soon, very soon. First week of September. So, if you happen to drop by Tagaytay anytime soon, please visit us. It's near Rotonda, so you can eat, drink, and chill in there. So we'll be having one more in Lipa, probably mid-September. We have lots of different food choices for you guys. So from Asian to Mexican to whatever you want, Filipino. Then we have drinks as well. So you guys, I hope you enjoy the food. So sorry, medyo naubos. So help yourselves to the things we have back. So thank you guys.
Thank you. You can check out our Facebook page, by the way, Grub Street. And once again, they have a lot of foods over there. And if you're from the South, really South, represent. Okay, you can definitely go there and just chill and eat and drink till your heart explodes. God forbid. All right, so now it is my honor to introduce you our next speaker. He's going to be talking about digital marketing trends. He's a director at the Internet and Mobile Marketing Association of the Philippines, or IMAC. He eats, breathes, and lives digital. Chief Digital Officer of Dentsu Digit, did I say it correctly? Okay. And the founder of Unbox.ph. Please give a round of applause for our second speaker, Mr. Carlo Ople.
Hello. Yeah. Ano kasi yung naglalaro ng Pokemon? Naglagay ako ng lure. So, peace. Habang nandito ako, maglalagay ako. Di ba? Parang fun. Medyo na-addict na ako dyan eh. Laki na lang nagagastos ko. Anyway, so hi, I'm Carlo. So, this is my Twitter handle, so those who are on Twitter, I won't be able to take too much questions after, so if you have any follow-up questions, just tweet and I'll be more than happy to answer on Twitter. I'm currently the Chief Digital Officer of Dentsu Saifu. Dentsu is the biggest one brand agency in the world that they recently acquired BM9 Saifu, which is a great agency here in the Philippines. So we joined them. But apart from being with Dentsu, I also founded and run Unbox.ph, which is a gadget technology site here in the Philippines. And apart from that, I do whatever consultancy I can find. So in short, parang millennial, walang tension sa buhay. Whatever comes your way, fight! So, okay naman yung multitasking, di ba? Daming articles lumalabas, focus. Fuck that shit. So, doon tayo sa pagmasaya. Okay, so, again, yun ang aking more or less ang aking professional history. So today I'll be talking to you about digital trends. Now I'm very fortunate to be sitting in the intersection of media. And when I say media, I mean it from the perspective of being press, journalism, and at the same time advertising. Because it gives me a really good view of the landscape, which I think is very unique because not everybody is in media and at the same time works in advertising. And this kind of setup allows me to go around the world, literally, to be able to see what are the things happening, what are the newest things, and how we can bring them back here in the Philippines. So on a regular basis, almost every year, I fly to Barcelona for the Mobile World Congress. I fly to Google I/O in Mountain View, which is picture here. This is the most recent one in Shoreline Amphitheater. In September, we'll be flying to IFA, which is another technology and gadget event. So it's a year-round thing. And it gives me a very nice perspective. And at the same time, it also allows me to talk to all of the speakers who go up on stage. Kasi because of a media pageant, it's not a delegate pass, it's a media pass. So yun yung perspective that I hope I'm able to bring to you guys this evening. So again, I get to travel mostly. This is a picture of the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai. During the event in Mountain View, I did the most Filipino thing ever. Nung nakita ko siya, tinakbo ko siya. Nasabi ko, sir, can we have a selfie? Siguro natakot siya kasi laki ko, sure. So picture kami, di ba? Tapos nung party nung gabi, nandun si Charlie X something girl. O si Boom Clap Girl. Tapos nandun yung si Kaigo yung DJ. Tapos they were flashing big pictures on the giant LED screen. Tapos lumabas siya parang, ooh! Stress. Lumabas ang selfie namin sa big screen sa Google. So again, yan yung being able to get the intersection. And the premise of the talk this evening is me basically identifying what are like the 5 top trends that I think are relevant to people in advertising. I'm not sure if all of you are in advertising, so but I'll try to make it as advertising as possible. But the 5 key trends kasi are relevant to any marketer in the digital field. So regardless if you're in SEO, if you're in writing, or if you're in creative, or if you're in sales or account management, I think these 5 key trends are very, very important in the Philippine context. So yun yung pag-usapan natin. Sige natin yung mga picture ko para sa itsura ko sa sarang napapatpad. Okay, game. So first trend, or first key Philippine thing that we should be aware of is the fragmented mobile internet infrastructure here in the Philippines. Big word, ibig sabihin niyan, the internet here sucks. Yun yun. And it's very important kasi it cripples a lot of the things that you can do. It changes the way we market to consumers because we have to live with the fact that the internet here in the Philippines sucks. Diba? But there is promise. Sorry about it. But there is promise. So, just to give you an example of how fast the landscape has changed. This is a picture of Pope John Paul during his World Youth Day visit. So kita-kita niyo lahat ng hawak niya puro mga yellow flags. Diba? And this is a picture of the most recent visit of the Pope. Kita-kita niyo lahat ng hawak nila. Cellphone tsaka iPad. Diba? Pati si Mano Police. Paano nababaten si Pope yan? So yan ang actually ang internet infrastructure in the Philippines. It's very mobile-based. A lot of Filipinos are using the internet for the first time, not on their laptops, not on their desktops, but really on their phones. People are accessing Facebook for the first time, Google for the first time, on the smartphone. And this has a huge, huge impact on the way we consume content. Just some statistics that you might find interesting. In the first quarter of this year alone, 3.5 million smartphones were sold. Just on the first quarter this year. Which brings up the total number of smartphones in the Philippines to 40 million. So medyo madami-dami na. And in terms of usage of Facebook, the app for example, in the Philippines it's 289 minutes a day versus the global average of 197 minutes. So kahit pangit internet natin, addict pa rin tayo. Rock on, di ba? So parang addict talaga din. So nakaka-aliw. But this growth actually isn't because of the iPhones or the Samsungs of this world. In the Philippines, the #1 brand is anybody care to take a guess? It's actually Cherry Mobile. It's actually Cherry Mobile. It's not Samsung, it's not LG, it's not Apple. It's mainly because of the cheap phones. No? So kung makikita niyo dito, local vendors, 53%, 57%. So it's because of the local cheap-ass phones that you're able to see more and more Filipinos accessing the internet for the first time. It also helps that sila Smart and sila Globe ignore net neutrality altogether and make everything free dahan-dahan, just to get more people in the internet. So for example, when Pokemon Go came out, 7 days free daw si Smart. But if you read the fine print, that pala position. So but anyway, so again, yan yung reason on why mas dumadami smartphone users in the Philippines. So for example, this smartphone is actually a Cherry mobile phone. I think it's quad core with 1 gig RAM, 8 gig storage, tapos may 30 megapixel camera, turbocharger, whatever. Binibenta nila is for 3,499 pesos. So you're starting to see more and more smartphones plummet in terms of prices. There's already a smartphone bundled with Smart, I think, for 888 pesos. There's another one for 699 pesos. The big news out of Mobile World Congress this year was that by fourth quarter this year, we will start seeing smartphones for under $10. So that's what, less than 500 pesos. So it goes to show how technology will continue to democratize communications all around the world. And Cherry Mobile is not just innovating in terms of smartphones. This is an action camera, which they're selling for 5,999 pesos. It's powered by Android, Lollipop. So it can stream directly already on YouTube or on Facebook Live for 5,899 pesos. They even have a fitness tracker. Sino may mahilig sa mga Fitbit dyan? Masarap ang Fitbit plus Pokemon Go, hindi mo napaka-fit mo talaga tao. But anyway, so this one they're selling for 3,499. But wait, there's more. You can actually remove the top and it becomes a Bluetooth headset. May tinatawag sa labas. So 3,499. And when people say VR, they keep thinking that it's expensive. Meron din sa Cherry Mobile. 1,200 complete with the remote control. So as a tech blogger, I can guarantee that it will last you more than a month. So, dyan nyo nakikita na more and more, the mobile devices are becoming cheaper and technology is being made more available to the masses here in the Philippines. Siguro dapat lumapit ako. Yeah. So, ano yung implication nito pagdating sa advertising and communications? Di ba usually when we create campaigns, in advertising, usually they create like one video. That's yun. But in today's world where everybody's working on different connections, different internet speeds, there has to be a different way to be able to communicate. So what I'll show you first is a video that we made for a client. Now this is a really long-ass video. It's 5 minutes. But it got over 7 million views. So it's one of the works that we're really proud of this year, and it's something that we made for Unilever, for Greece. Then I'll show you the thinking that we had in trying to solve that problem of Filipinos having different internet connections. Because the data showed that they would drop off after, I think, 30-45 seconds. So we needed to address it. So play the video first, then kwentuhan tayo.
Oh my goodness. Tawa ka pa. Alam mo naman, pag dumi, ayaw ni mami, di ba? Di ba? Oo, ba't nagdumi ka? Ano nangyari sa'yo? Saan ka galing? Ano na naman? Saan ka na naman naglaro? Ano ginawa mo? Bakit kasi dumi? Ayan. Ang dumi-dumi. Kung maglaban na. Oh my God.
Ang dami-dami mag-bet. Gusto ko talaga makita siyang malinis. Every time. Ayaw ko may masabing hindi maganda sa anak ko kasi masakit yun sa akin bilang ina.
Ay, bakit to? Alam mo kung magagalan siya, pero maging honest na lang po ako sa kanya.
Super happy ako na sobrang proud talaga. Kasi hindi ko in-expect na ganito. Yung mga tinuturo namin sa kanya, yung mga paalala namin, na-apply niya talaga.
Kasi isipin niya, di ba? Magagalit siguro mo. Hindi naman ganun. Talagang yung heart niya. Nakita ko, super proud.
Ang galing pala ng ano ko. Okay naman pala ako mami. Lagi ko yung isip kong nilalang sa sarili ko. Hindi ko in-expect na ganun yung... Kasi nakita ko siya parang ako ulit. Akala ko naglaro ko ba? Tapos kaya pala ganun. Eh, nagulat po ako.
Yung
Umiyak.
kasi wala ka nagpulit ka doon. Kaya naman pala, nag-help ka naman pala kayo.
Okay ba? So that had over 7 million views on Facebook and on YouTube. Now the problem was, obviously, it was low, and we saw that people were dropping off. So what did we do to address it? So it's called in Facebook, they call it PPC hacking. So you basically break up the material into smaller chunks, either through carousel ads or animated GIFs. You take specific moments, but you're still able to deliver the brand message. So parang mga ganyan, diba? So para mas madali ma-consume. And what we did was using targeted advertising. If you're on Wi-Fi, you get the video. If you're on 4G, you you get the video. If you're on 3G, you get this. If you get the 2G, you get a still picture. If you're on whatever, super bad, whatever, zero next na lang. So it really targets depending on the connection of the user in the Philippines. Yun yung problema natin dito sa Pinas, pangit ang internet eh. So we have to be able to work with the hard speed being dealt with. Because otherwise, if you keep forcing really long-ass videos, it won't work. Another thing that we found out was that if the video was shared by another person or another entity, the view-through rate was higher. So if it appeared on the feed and it didn't show Breeze Philippines, but it showed Raptor or Wendy Manila, the view-through, which means tinatapos yung video, mas mataas. So we basically partnered with, let's skip this part. We partnered with almost everyone. So it came out on Inquirer, Raptor, ABS, Wikipedia, Lionheart, Magic 89.9, Social Network, Wendy Manila, even celebrities, also on Twitter. Pati yung mga quotes, nilabas na rin namin chat. So here you see how you're able to hack the situation of having bad internet. You're still able to deliver the brand message. You're still able to deliver what you need to say, despite having crap internet here in the Philippines. It was so good, the video, that it was used in a homily during Mass in Rita. That was not me. So, kag-isip nagtuloy kami na something now. So, ginamit lang talaga ni Father as part of his homily. So, that's one way of being able to address that particular problem. Second thing that we have to be very aware of in the Philippines is called the free Facebook effect. This is both good and bad. It's good because most Filipinos are on Facebook. They're on the internet. It's bad because personally I think it dumps down a huge part of the population. Because they just read the title and that's it. They don't even bother to go into the article itself because in free Facebook, once you go out, you have to pay. And a huge majority actually of Filipinos are actually accessing Facebook just on the free status by itself. So this is actually something that you need to be able to consider once you do and create your campaigns. Just some latest numbers that you might find interesting. 49 million Facebook users already here in the Philippines, almost half the population. And like what I mentioned earlier, almost all the telcos are scrambling to be able to get the attention of Facebook. Talaga sila nagunahan makipag-picture kay Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, Mark, close tayo. Wala kay Zuckerberg, kay Mark. So yun yung situation here. Like everyone wants to partner. So what is the impact of free Facebook to marketers and advertisers and brands? Are you familiar with the Pareto principle?
Yeah.
About 20%, or actually terms at 80% of the outcome, something like that. But the thing sa Facebook, because of free Facebook, the copy of the title, the thumbnail picture, and the accompanying caption in the Facebook post is your 20% that delivers you the 80%. Sometimes a lot of brands and marketers spend too much time on the actual content itself and don't spend too much time on the caption, on the title, and on the thumbnail photo. Kasi that will determine if they will click it or not. That will determine if they will get the message. Kasi most of them can't even click because they're on free Facebook. So you have to spend an inordinate amount of time just on that. And you need to be able to create content that will leverage free Facebook. For example, you do it on articles, stuff like that, stuff that still appear for free on the Facebook platform. So I'll share with you another case study. This one is a campaign that we did for a maternal milk brand, and this was heavy on content marketing. Now this is for Anma, and this particular video had over 150 million views worldwide. So I'll play the video for you guys.
Hi, Mommy. This was our first date together, but you didn't know I was there yet. I really wanted to surprise you. Surprise! I was so small, but your big, big heart made me grow and grow and grow. Is that bacon? I'm so hungry, Mom. Bacon, 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 bacon. I want to eat all the bacon in the world. Oops. Morning, Sicky. Sorry, Mom. Hope you feel better. It's okay. You are still the prettiest. Oh, Mommy, look at me Whoa, look at this, Mom. Close. Ooh. Growing with you is so much fun, Mom. I love our stretchy day and our yum yum day. Happy rain! But I think I just want a nappy date for now. I hope the rest of me grows soon, so I can hug you and I can kiss you. For now, I'll just have to dream about it. I love you, Mom. I love you from our very first date together. And I just love you more and more and more.
Una ko siya nakita yung nawawa ko siya ko. Sabi ko, hindi ba? Ay, wala. But anyway, so that was the video for and Mom. But usually people think it's just a video. But we actually went all out in terms of support materials. We came up with a website, I think with over 300 articles on tips for moms, recipes for moms, as in everything and anything for moms, and all of which were loaded. It was optimized for Facebook Instant articles. And we will even post the entire article in snippets in album form on Facebook. Kasi we saw the need that people were on free Facebook all the time. So there was also a huge discussion on where we would put the video, on Facebook or on YouTube. So because we have free Facebook, bulk of the media money and the support was on Facebook itself. Third, ito yung secret. Marami kayo dito for SEO, di ba? From the SEO community. Here's the sad reality. If you talk to the big brands, globally, like the Unilevers, the P&Gs, the J&Js, and almost everybody, search is deprioritized. That's the sad reality. For several reasons. One, they don't understand it. Diba? Second, they don't appreciate it. Third, they feel that it's the most expensive among all the marketing levers. So in fact, it's one of the most cost-effective if you think about it. The challenge is, hindi nila malagay ng peso value because e-commerce here is not existent. In most countries, when we talk about digital marketing, it's actually called performance marketing, where you're able to track everything down to the last peso to conversion. Here in the Philippines, because we don't have that, it's not existent. So it's hard to justify peso spent on almost everything. That's why the default in digital is all the sexy stuff. All the stuff I just showed you earlier. Doon yung default. Doon ay viral video. Let's make the next video. Let's make this go viral. Lahat pala ng brief viral video. Nag-present kami ng campaign mostly banner ads because it's supposed to be performance marketing. Ang balik sa amin, make this a video. Parang wow. So yun yung sad state here in the Philippines. But there's definitely a lot of things happening on the side of Google that will make search a little more sexy. That will make search a little more interesting, I think, for advertisers. Search has been unfairly deprioritized in the marketing mix. But the reality is it's one of the most critical pieces in the campaign. But there needs to be a shift in focus because the shift has already happened to mobile. Diba? Bulk of the traffic that we get today, I'm speaking, I'll remove my agency hat and put on my publisher hat for the box. Roughly 70% is already mobile. So it's not even half. It's 70% the traffic we get is mobile. I kind of feel bad for the advertisers who put banner ads on their site because it's not actually that effective anymore. Because they end up being so small squares, sobrang daming scroll downs before they see it. Because 70% of the traffic is already mobile. And that actually changes the paradigm of content creation, wherein product development is just as important as content creation. Google rolled out the AMP project, the Accelerated Mobile Pages. We applied it on Box. And after it was approved and it was implemented, we saw a lift of at least 25% in traffic, just by applying that particular update alone. We're also taking a look at progressive web apps, how to make the website a little more, makulit, parang pinabalik-balik sila doon sa site at hindi na the same thing all over again. So that product development mindset is not something that a lot of advertisers and marketers have because it's a product-oriented thing. But it actually can deliver you a lot of traffic, a lot of views, a lot of hits. So that for me, I think, is how you're able to make search a little more sexy again. I'll show you a video of the launch video of the app project. I met the guy who actually founded it, Richard Ingers, when I was at Google. Really cool guy. But I'll get the video first and I'll share with you some exchanges that we had when I was there.
Those of us, when we first started playing with the web, the great thing was that you could surf. You could go to one site, read something, find a link there, click, you're off to another site.
It was the single greatest driver of innovation we've ever seen.
Thanks to smartphones. Everybody has internet in their pocket.
But the mobile web is really at odds with what everybody does on the web, which is surf and browse, and that should all be fast and easy, and right now it just isn't.
So this thing, which should be a source of utter wonder, is a source of frustration.
Waiting.
Not letting me scroll.
Now it's loaded.
People bounce. So if the page doesn't load within a couple seconds, they move on to the next page.
That is the worst possible outcome for everyone involved.
So Google, together with dozens of other publishers and technology companies, sat down to try to find a solution to this. And our solution was the AMP project.
AMP is a fantastic industry collaborative approach to make mobile web faster.
You'll see the benefits on AMP page when you first go to one. The first thing is instant speed.
The next click is only sort of like one little scroll away.
More people will see us, more people will see our ads, more people will be able to read our content.
We love the ability to style our own pages. It was a great opportunity for us to really look like our brand, feel like our brand.
With this sort of open philosophy that it's unfettered and unrestricted and you can do pretty much anything you like with it.
Publishers can maintain control over their own destinies, control over their own products, control over their own business models. And the best way to do that with an engineering project is to make it an open source project.
We feel like it's really important that there's not a gatekeeper between a publisher and them reaching their audience.
The success of the AMP project is not going to be based on the leadership of one. It's going to be based on the leadership of many.
You have a problem that is common to others, you work together to find a common solution.
So it's like all of a sudden everybody jumping in and doing stuff, and then something comes out, which is great.
Something that we've needed to do for a very long time as an industry. This is the spirit of the web at its best.
Just give it a try. Show up with a GitHub page, read the documentation, see what it would mean for your pages.
We shouldn't be fighting over what a hyperlink is anymore. It's time to figure out how to tell the best stories.
You know, those of us involved with the AMP project are involved in many regards because we love the web, and we want the web to be as vibrant and healthy as all of us know it can be. We want it to be fast and furiously compelling. We want to make the web great again. It's really as simple as that. Can we make the web great again?
Nakapalit na ng web, no? Sa PC. But anyway, so that's, is it okay if I just stand here so we may, kasi may stand here na kaya okay. Ayun, ayun, yeah. So next important trend that we have to watch out for, especially for those in marketing, is the rise of YouTube creators. In most markets outside of Asia, actually even in Asia, YouTubers are already the next big celebrities. Here in the Philippines, we just started to catch up. So yan yung 5-year rule that we talk about in the industry. Pagkatapos ng 5 years kumuso sa ibang bansa, sisikat na dito. Diba? So same with YouTubers. We're now seeing a lot of YouTubers who are bringing in hundreds and thousands or millions of views every time they upload. This is one of them. His name is Will Daskovich. He's really funny and he's a really cool guy. I actually watch his videos. I'll play one video that he does, which I think amassed over 600,000 or something views. Just so you get an idea of who he is.
Astig! Hoy pare! Gawa tayo ng Trumpets Challenge! Ano ba yan? Yung Trumpets Challenge! Gusto na po! Eh, paano kasi? Ganito lang! Sige lang! So, try mo! Paano dati? Oh, ganyan-ganyan. Try mo dito! When the trumpets blow
video is 10 minutes long. You're just dancing. Same thing all over Mandaluyong. So what am I trying to say? YouTubers like this, like Will, have put in their 10,000 hours. You guys are familiar with the 10,000 hours with tipping point offer. For you to be a master, you need to spend at least 10,000 hours doing something. I have one quick story. Around a month ago, we had a YouTuber content creator bootcamp here in the Philippines. They flew in like I think a 14-year-old from Singapore who has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I attended as a boss, not as an advertising person. And I showed the kid our YouTube channel, and he totally ripped me apart. As in talagang wasak. And he was schooling me about, this is your funnel strategy, this is your most viewed content, and yet you're not putting end cards, and you're not making out, and you're not doing this, and this, and this. And I'm like, holy shit! I'm getting schooled by a 14-year-old. Here I am with over 14 years experience in digital, working in advertising, all that stuff. And I'm getting schooled by a 14-year-old. You know the sad part? He was right on everything. They put in the 10,000 hours. I usually give this part of the talk specifically for people who work in advertising. We have to be humble. Because a lot of the things that we can learn from the next generation, we have to accept that they're better at it than us. So we stand a lot to learn from people like Will and a lot of the other YouTubers who are now making it big. Some brands have started to make their own play at YouTube, making their own content. I'm not saying that it works, but at least they're trying. So we're seeing more and more content. You'll see more experimentation as the months go by. Next key trend, everything is going live. People want it now, they don't want it yesterday, they don't want it 5 hours ago, they want it now. And when it comes to live content, there's this gadget called the Mevo camera. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but it will probably change the landscape of broadcasting and content creation. I'll play the video, and before I start, this costs $500 less than 20,000 pesos.
Hey! We're here at the Tasting Studio, and we're doing Facebook Live!
Yeah, it's a cool new camera called the Mevo.
So, first up, with the sushi on the table down here, I've got some prepared soba noodles, so they can drain through the tables. I'm going to add in a little bit of rice wine vinegar.
So the noodles, 2 days. Yeah. There you go, folks. Come get a chance to make this at home.
Kung gusto niyo bumili, meron sa labas. Okay, so again, you have an entire studio and editing data real time on your phone while you're shooting. It's crazy. I mean, it's literally insane. Diba, to be able to have that kind of technology in this day and age. When it comes to Facebook Live, one of the key reasons why you should be using it is because it allows you to increase followers and not just likes. Kasi the bottom below says follow. A follow automatically appears in the feed, versus a like doesn't actually guarantee your content appears on the feed of the user. For Facebook Live, the call to action is follow or /subscribe, not like. It is actually interesting, no? Parang, I've yet to see a local brand make the most out of Facebook Live. But what they usually do is they just get a crappy camera from an iPhone and then put it in front of the stage for their entire activation, and they'll stream it for 3 hours. Wow. So this is something that has yet to be mined and maximized. So again, what are the 5 key trends that I talked about this evening? Number 1, fragmented mobile internet infrastructure, aka our internet sucks. Number 2, the free Facebook effect, aka it dumps down the population. Number 3, Number 3, new realities for search content discovery. Number 4, rise of the YouTube creators. Number 5, everything is going live. We'll do one more thing, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. We'll just do one last trend that I'd like to put in. A lot of advertisers miss the boat on this game. Clash of Clans here in the Philippines. we met with them, and you can actually partner with them so that when you buy a particular product, here, you buy shampoo, then you get to get points that you can use to buy whatever. But nobody did that here. But how big was Clash of Clans here in the Philippines? How big it still is? Or what's the next game that came out, that Clash Royale? And nobody's talking to them here. If there's one thing that we're noticing is that there's like a virtual layer being built on top of our life right now. And the virtual layer can influence the way we do things in real life. AKA, this one. Right? I don't have to show you the videos of how crazy it is in Ford, or in Greenbelt, or in SM. Sinubukan yung mga Bergamon when we were parking, OMG! Kulang na mahulog sila eh. Yung mga nakasandal dun sa mga ano, di ba? Tapos ano nakakasal sa mga Pinoy kung nagpo-comment mo doon, hindi sila marunong tumabi. Di ba may pathway, lakad-lakad, bibigyan sa gitna. Hindi man lang uusap na ganyan eh, no? Parang nakakapwisit din naman. But anyway, advertisers cannot afford to miss this one. And this is just one of the first. Imagine the same mechanics applied to other titles. Marvel, Disney, Game of Thrones, everything else. And that's the next generation of entertainment and advertising that will come. Hindi ko alam ano itong video na to. I remember. But let's skip it that. It's basically a video of Ingress, which is actually the basis of Pokemon Go. Tapos the founder just was able to land a deal with Pokemon Company and Nintendo, and kung sila popular yung Pokemon, biglang sumabog. But the mechanics are actually the same. So matagal na yung mechanics. And one last thing, and this is a little more personal advice for everybody aspiring to be in digital. If there's one thing I learned working in this industry for a while, there's no such thing as an expert. The real expert are people who are actually forever students. Because there are so many new things that happen, there are so many changes that happen, and those who are too mayabang to learn and don't have the ability to accept the fact that we don't know everything are the ones that always get left behind. Never settle, keep learning, keep moving forward. With that, thank you very much for your time.
All right, so earlier, Mr. Carlos said that he wouldn't be able to take any questions at this point. So once again, you can follow him on Twitter, that's @Carlo. And we'll be moving on to award them with the certificates and also their tokens. And of course, we'll have a group photo before we move on to our final speaker. Because Mr. Carlo will be leaving early. Okay, so first up, we would like to call up, of course, Mr. Mark Samson to join us on stage. Mr. Bernard, please also award our two speakers. And Mr. Carlo, before you leave, we'll award you the certificate, and of course, the token. So the certificate reads that the certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mark Samson and Mr. Carlo Ode for recording his valuable insights on SEO Shots given this 19th day of August 2016 at 8 Space 110 Legazpi Street, Makati 1. 1229 Metro Manila, Philippines, signed by President of SEO.org.ph, Bernard San Juan III. So this is for Mr. Mark. This is, of course, the token. You will love it. And of course, this is for Mr. Carlo, and this is the video. So we'll have a photo first with the three of you, and then we'll ask everyone to please join in before we move on to our final talk. Alright? Smile! Dito muna. Alright, everybody else, can we ask you to really, group photo now. Everybody please join us for a group photo before we move on to our final talk. Group photo muna, group photo. And then we have some goodies to give away also. Kasha yan! Kasha yan! Okay, for all of those on the side, as much as possible, please do roll or in the front. Gianna? Everybody, as much as possible. Compress, not compress, if you could.
Wait. My boss is summoning me. Yes. How do I love you? So you know.
Go, smile, okay. 3, 2, 1. One more, 1, 2, 3. And 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you so much. We'll be taking a 5-minute break before we move to our last speaker. Please don't be late. It's over.
I have, because I think I should change 1,000 pesos. I'll give you so that means 5 minutes. Ganun ang sulat ko, no?
Not there, whatever.
beachgoers, and they do have a fintech events going on this month. So if you want to learn more about e-commerce, finance, and technology, then that's what's going on here in this space. Every month is a different theme now. They have something like a passport program where if you complete all of these events, then you have a prize, I think. So check out hspacemanila.com just in case you would like to be a part of it. A lot of their events are pretty cheap. Like we went to a women's entrepreneurship event and it was talking about going from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur, and it was only 200 pesos. So it's really worth your time, and you get to meet really interesting people like us, not for everyone. And of course, you get to network, you get to talk to people, just chill. Again, we're inviting you also to go to Grove Street in September. And TrueLogic will be talking about some of the things that they have in store for you later on. That's it. Anyone has any questions so far? Nothing?
There you go.
Good, because it's it's time to call on our third speaker, and I would like to introduce him very formally. Instead of you just going ahead. So you get to know who he is, why he's been here from the beginning, and why he was chosen to be president of SEO Org Philippines. He is the general manager of TrueLogic Online Solutions, Inc. He is also a professional and digital marketer with 18 years experience. You're a fossil who knows how to use digital marketing. He's also an instructor for Digital Marketing Institute, or DMI, a lecturer for eLearning Edge, and a speaker for digital marketing in a blink. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for Mr. Bernard San Juan III.
Okay, I don't have anything more to say about myself. She sort of said everything. This is the main event part of the conversation. So you guys that brought your notepads, you're not going to regret it. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to SEO, right? Like you guys saw our presentation where a lot of big companies water down the value of SEO, which is true. But if you do it right, companies put in the right investment. Like if, for example, a lot of people don't know that the average return on investment against SEO activities is $22 per dollar spent. That's pretty good. That's also 3 times the yield of Facebook, which gives you $7 per dollar spent. But everybody will spend $2 on Facebook. Anyway, what we're talking about though is for the SEOs in the audience. Who among you guys are SEOs? Raise your hand. SEOs, raise your hand. Familiar with SEO? Okay. So because we've got 4 marketers, can you guys raise your hands? Marketers, just general marketers that have to be digital. Okay. Writers, can I see writers? Okay, salesmen, do we have salesmen in the room? No? Okay. So the reason I'm asking is so that I know how untechnical this conversation needs to get. And I'm going to try to make it untechnical as much as I can. And I'm going to do it by song and dance. No, I'm not. I am going to do it in the form of a story, because that's always the easiest way. That's always the easiest way to deliver a message. So before we get started, there are 4 golden Google rules I think you guys will remember, and it won't be on the slides. There are 4 golden Google rules, and this pretty much governs what kind of methodology we teach our employees, what we say when we speak at events, and whatnot. What's Google's mantra? This is Google rule number 1.
Don't be evil.
Don't be evil. That is Google's mantra. That's Google rule number 1, right? In practical algorithmic applications, that means no porn, no gaming. When I say gaming, I mean casino, no controlled substances, right? Google has a very, very definitive definition of these, of what it considers as evil. Google rule number 2 is, what do you guys think Google rule number 2 is? What does Google do? What is Google's core business? Search. Google's core business is search. They categorize the people that use Google as 2. You have Google customers and you have Google users. Who are Google customers? The guys that advertise. Who are Google users? Everybody, right? Everybody that does the 100 billion searches every month. Everyone that does 100 billion searches every month. That's Google's users. So because search is their forte, Google's rule number 2 is simple. You search and you find what you're looking for. Google rule number 2 is simple. You search and you find what you're looking for. The entire mantra, design, algorithm of the search engine is built to follow that rule. If you, the user, look for something, Google must present you with information that's relevant to what you're looking for. Guess Google rule number 3. Anybody? Guess Google rule number 3. No. So you build for the user, right? So why does this have to be a Google rule? Because in the golden age of SEO, and we're talking circa 2005 all the way to circa 2011, which is sort of, when the golden age bandwagon sort of crashed and wasn't sweet, anybody could rank anything. Anybody could rank anything. So the problem was everybody built a website that was bot friendly, but they didn't build websites that were user friendly. They didn't build websites that were user friendly. Content was hidden. Content was made accessible to bots, but not made visible to users. Content was duplicated for the benefit of the bot. Links were created for the benefit of the bot, and the digital footprint was enhanced for the benefit of the bot. None of it for the benefit of the user. So while 2005 to 2011 is the golden age of SEO, it is also the dark ages of the web, right? And this is why Google is saying, let's make the web great again. Last rule. This one is specifically for SEOs. Google's last rule is, don't game Google. Don't game the algorithm, right? And I'll show you the consequences of what happens when what happens when that is. So this is a modern story of what Google is today. It is the modern story of modern search algorithm. So a lot of it has to do with digital footprints and how you assess backlink profiles correctly, what are characteristics of good digital footprints, what links are worthwhile, what links are not worthwhile, and how do you plan your link acquisition based on your digital footprint. But more than that, I want to talk about the most important algorithm updates and the most important updates to Google itself. So let's talk about Google. Google was made when? When was Google made? Does anybody know? Anybody heard the story?
1990.
When? 1998, 1997, Stanford. It was called Background. It was Larry Page's thesis. It was Google or a self-driving car. But the technology in 1997 would have allowed him to program a self-driving car. By the way, this is why Google University and the Google campus has self-driving cars. Because when Larry Page was creating his doctorate thesis, it was a search engine or a self-driving car. And the technology of the age allowed for better search engines. So Google was made in 1997, released to the public in 1998. Did not offer advertising until 2002. Between 1998's release all the way to 2015, the search engine had not been changed. The search engine had not been changed. So let's compare this to real life. That's like you getting an Oldsmobile. Let's say that's like you, who was born after 1990? Or who was born before 1990? Raise your hands. Born before 1990. Born before 1990. Okay, we got a couple of people that are. Oh, it's okay. So the reason I ask is, let's pretend you got a car in 1990. You got a car in 1990. Or, let's do it in Google's timeline. What was a hot car in 1998? What was a hot car in 1998? A hatchback? A Civic hatchback? 98? 1998. Oh, the SIR Civic. The SIR Civic. Do you guys know what this one is? The Civic SIR, who knows what I'm talking about? A Civic SIR, a Civic SIR. Okay, great. Let's talk about a Civic SIR, which was made available in 1998, really got popularized in 1999. Imagine Google was your Civic SIR. The search engine is the car's engine. The search engine is the car's engine. As time goes by, your users become more sophisticated. The driver becomes more sophisticated. What kind of mobile phones were available in 1998?
Yeah.
Huge analog phones. Huge analog phones. And the amperage they needed could not be charged by the car lighter. They could not be charged by the car lighter. The car lighter only releases 2.1 to 2.6 amperes, right? And those phones needed 6 amps, 9 amps in order for them to charge. But that's 1998. As time went by, the driver of the car started getting more mobile. He had a Palm Pilot. The Palm Pilot gets charged by actually not even a USB. The Palm Pilot gets charged. There's nowhere to charge it on the car. There's nowhere to put it on the dash. Technology improves a bit more. The guy now owns a Nokia, I don't know, 3310. 3210 is fine. And there's nowhere to put it on the car, there's nowhere to plug it in, right? So the car is getting left behind 5 times. So what does the user do in order to adapt the car to his requirements? The user then starts buying add-ons, goes to the retail, buys a phone stand and puts it in his dashboard. User then buys, I don't know, a big rear view mirror. User buys, the SIR by the way was top of the line, it didn't have a rear sensor. The driver of the car is realizing, oh my god, I just drove that car and I told the driver how close it was to the next car it was going to hit. And so the guy goes to, I don't know, eBay or somewhere where you can get your car customized and has rear sensors installed in the car, right? Another add-on. It's another add-on to the car that wasn't part of its original feature, right? More than that, street racing became a cool thing between the years 2005 to 2000 to 2005. The road along Corinthians, holy cow. I passed through that every day. That thing is like a kill zone. You gotta pray nobody's racing when you're there in the middle of the night, and they banned it. So, street racing becomes a big deal, and then you got drifting becomes a big deal. All of these things, not something the car was built for, right? So every time there's something the driver wants to do, he puts an add-on, he puts an add-on, he puts an add-on. Before you know it, the car is one big add-on mess. The story for Google is similar. Between 1998 to 2015, the engine had never been changed. But the algorithm got more sophisticated. How did that happen? Because they added on the caffeine. They added on native. They added on Florida. They added on Brandy. The algorithm kept getting add-ons. It wasn't until September 16, 2015, actually it got rolled out in August. It just got announced in September. It got rolled out in August. But it wasn't until August of 2015 where Google rolled out an entirely new engine. In short, it was an entirely new car. So no more injections, no more add-ons, no more stuff from green hills, no more installation of this. The engine was fully comprehensive. Now, where a lot of SEOs usually fail an interview with me, if I ask them to read an SEO's personal one, they'll tell me his name, is I'll ask them about algorithm updates that they know. And then I'll specifically ask them about this. If you rate yourself a name, I rate myself a name. You'll know that this is not an algo. This is the algo. This is the engine. The Hummingbird is the engine. It has one very specific capability. It can go through content and it can understand. That's a big difference. You guys know how the search engine used to see, you guys know how the search engine used to see your websites? Like Mark was talking about crawling, indexing, ranking. When your website is crawled and then it's indexed, what does it look like on Google's mainframe? I'm gonna give you guys know what a source code is. Source code, source code, source code. When you're on a website and you click Control U, you get to see a long HTML document. That document is the source code. It's how all websites express themselves. It's how all websites express themselves. It was invented by certain Berners-Lee. But that's another story. So, all websites express themselves in HTML, and Google used to store all websites as HTML documents inside the mainframe. So when Google was comparing the value of your website, your content, versus another person's website or another person's content, it only had the HTML document to use. Right before this was launched, the Google Search Console or Webmaster Tools had a new button. It was called Fetch and Render. Nobody paid it any attention. It got launched in October the year before. So why is this a big deal? Because it tells you the search engine doesn't just see your website as a document anymore. It sees it like a website. Google's ability to view your website is no longer as a document. It has the ability to view your website exactly the way you study a website. I had a conversation with, for me this is a funny conversation, because a client had told me, and we all know the search engine can't see images. Wrong. It can see images. Have you guys ever done a Google search? Have you guys ever done a Google search? No? There's something you can do on Google. Go to a website, right-click an image, copy, paste the image in the Google search box. It automatically opens the image search for similar items. More than that, you guys know that Google can parse words in a video? Inside your YouTube settings, go to captioning, turn it on. Play a video you've never seen before. And Google will type the dialogue as the people are talking. So, can Google understand videos? Yes. Can Google see images? Yes. Is it awesome at understanding images? No. Because you see 5 degrees to the left or 5 degrees to the right, and it sort of fits the image's original, right? So, the hummingbird, an algorithm that reads and understands. Incredible, because now you can't cheat it so much. You can't cheat it so much because it knows that an address is an address. It knows that the keyword is badly placed. It knows that a piece of content was created for SEO and not for users. It is pretty intelligent. Not uber intelligent, but pretty intelligent. Now, one of the things I said here is the hummingbird is a combination of updates since 2004. One of the technologies that powers the hummingbird is called LSI, latent semantic indexing. I mentioned it briefly earlier. What's LSI? The original algorithm is called the LDA. It's called the latent derivative allocation. It's a 1970s mathematical equation that attempts to guess what the content is about based on what words appear where inside the content. Does that sort of make sense? So if this slide had the word dog appear 12 times, and the word dog appears somewhere within the first 30 words, it will assume that this slide is either talking about or highly related to dogs. That's how the LDA works. Did it understand the context? No, it will not understand it. What's the semantic indexing? It reads it, and it realizes what the content is about. It will read it exactly the same way you will. It will relate it to the same topics you will. So, why 2004? Because LSI was technology that Google developed in 2004. It was an algorithm called branding, which they had to scrap. Why did Google scrap branding? Because whenever Google does an update, they cannot change search results beyond the threshold of 3%. What does Google do? In order for Google to have a great business, what do they need? Okay, they need to have searches, but they need to have one more. Right, quality results. They need to have content, right? There must be content somewhere on the World Wide Web that they can post, and they must have users doing those searches, right? Had they implemented the technology that runs the hummingbird in 2004, it would have changed over 20%, 27% search, which means, did you guys ever hear about the case of eBay? No, yes, no, yes. Who knows what happened to eBay? So if you guys did a search 6 years ago, and you guys researched e-commerce, e-commerce is credited to 2 companies, like the fathers of e-commerce. One is Amazon, the other is eBay. Right? Today it is credited to Amazon, by the way. But why? Because eBay became less relevant. Oops. Yeah. Why did eBay become less relevant? Why did eBay become less relevant? It's less dramatic than you think. You guys, who remembers eBay from over 5 years ago? Can anybody raise their hands? Oh my God, you're so young. Okay, very few. What was eBay's original page color? Yellow. eBay pages were yellow. They were not white. They are white today. Why did people stop using eBay?
Scam.
Because they turned it white. They turned it white. That's all. And eBay never became as relevant as it was before. Right? Is it white now? Yes, it is. So they decided to listen to their users, they turned it back yellow, and they slowly turned it white. But the bottom line is, people don't like change. They don't like change. And if Google had implemented this technology in 2004, changing over 20% of search, people would have left Google. And they couldn't have that, right? In 2004, Google was not a powerhouse. Let me hit close. Oops. I don't know where my reactor is. At 9. There you go. Okay. Oh. There you go. Go for it, my one is on the side. Okay. So let's talk about the hummingbird. This is going to be the one that I talk about the longest. Or at least the slide that I talk about the longest. I will breeze through the other ones. Remember, if you guys have questions, stop me. If you guys have questions, stop me. So features of the hummingbird. It doesn't penalize. It does not penalize. Why do I talk about this? Because the last two biggest algorithms that got added to the Google search engine were penalizing algorithms. The Panda and the Penguin were the first two algorithms to ever apply penalties to websites. I'll show you what penalties look like. But the hummingbird does not penalize. So it looks like all other algorithms that preceded it. It doesn't update. Why? Because it's not an algo, it's the search engine. Right? It doesn't update. It does refresh. Have you guys ever heard of a Panda refresh, a Penguin refresh, a Google refresh? Who's heard of this? A refresh. Not a lot of people have heard about it. So what's a refresh? It means the search engine has a fresh copy of the whole World Wide Web. That's all a refresh is. So the hummingbird refreshes, but no, it does not update because it's the engine. So a lot of SEOs try to cheat their way to ranking for the hummingbird because it's semantic, right? It runs on the other side, it's semantic indexing, so it's a semantic algorithm. So what a lot of SEOs did is they changed their meta titles to questions, and then they created body content that answered the question. That's what they did. More than that, they integrated synonyms into the keywords in order to benefit from this. Did it work? Not really. It's smart, right? Oh, by the way, yeah, some people are still trying this now. And no, it doesn't work. Okay. Who knows this algorithm? Raise your hands. Who's heard of this? Okay. This is the Panda algorithm. So I'm not going to talk about everything that preceded it because the modern search engine really starts here. The Panda algorithm. Originally called the farmer. Originally called the over-optimization algorithm. Got released in February 2011, which sort of killed the golden age of SEO. This is the algorithm that killed spam. This is the algorithm that killed spam. Or the animal, or the engineer. It's called Panda, by the way, because the Google engineer that wrote the algorithm, his name is Panda. That's why it's called the Panda algorithm. So it got rolled out in February 2011, and what it did was it made an accumulated change in search of 25% spread across 2 years. It changed search results over 2 years by a total of 25%, never in excess of 3% at any update in time. Does that make sense? Because users don't like change, right? Users don't like change. So when Google makes changes to the algorithm, they make sure that it isn't uber dramatic. That it's not uber dramatic. Who of you guys noticed the change in the color of Google Apps? Be honest. Not a lot. It used to be orange. It is now green. Right? It Usually orange is not green. And these are the kinds of changes that Google likes to do. So, why? Because they are determined to not be the next eBay. So, rolled out in Feb 2011, a lot of SEO stuff did, officially announced in March 2011. Hallmark capability. It looks for shitty content. It looks for shitty content, something you stole from someone else, and then it will kill your website. Why? Because you're a thief. Not really. It will assume you didn't put enough value in your content, which means you don't really care so much about your users, right? Which violates Google rule number 3. That's what this algorithm respects. You build for the user. It targets poor, thin, duplicated content. You borrow content from Wikipedia, penalty. You built 20 websites for 20 different dentists and you didn't change the content, you just changed the branding. Penalty. All of them. Okay? And it's named after Lemmy Panda. So that's the guy that created the algorithm. So the Panda was particularly difficult to introduce because prior to the Panda, the understanding of the Google search engine was it had an authority metric, it had an on-page metric, it had an off-page metric, and a behavioral metric. So it had 4 metric groups. And then you throw this in, and all of a sudden, it was very different. The Panda is different in one hallmark, with one specific hallmark. Do you guys remember what Mark was talking about, an indexing budget? Do you guys remember what Mark was talking about, an indexing budget? This does not follow that rule. The Panda will go to your website, regardless of your page rank, every 2 to 3 weeks. It will visit you every 2 to 3 weeks. It will make a fresh copy of your website every 2 to 3 weeks. And it will attribute a score to you every 2 to 3 weeks. Why is it important for you guys to know that? Because in the same way that it penalizes websites, it rewards websites that respects its tenants. What are the tenets of the Panda? It looks for original content, different content variations, meaning content plus image, plus video, plus something. It looks for rich media, it looks for Web 2.0 content, it looks for future content, it looks for content from users. This is what it looks for. Every time you apply a quality metric, the rankings jump up slightly every 2 to 3 weeks. So in the news, this was a very short saying, Panda is now making another Google score ranking algorithms. But we already sort of knew that. The Panda got integrated into the algorithm of the metric bucket. And that happened in March 2 years ago. So it happened a long time ago, it happened about 2005. So, what's the Panda? It's a primary quality indicator. And the primary quality indicator is content. If prior to 2011, the marketers were saying content is king, they should say this more now. That is the single most powerful ranking factor. More powerful than psychology, which is pretty significant. Other quality signals that the quality metric rewards. Sociability, mobility, rich content format, updated code, nice updated code, and HTML5. So, why do I have to mention this? Because there are 60 billion domains on the World Wide Web, and almost half of them are still running on Google code, meaning they're not HTML5. Why is Google being Yahoo? Why do they all insist on HTML5? Because HTML5 code, along with CSS3, allows for a very unique capability. The reason that people will like something, share something, tweet something, comment on something, drag from an element to the website is because of modern coding. If something is written in HTML4, you will not be able to properly see it on your browser, drop a comment, like it, tweet it, share it, whatever. You can't. Because the older codes do not facilitate searchability. So when people say Web 2.0, it means the user's web. The user needs to interact with change the Facebook website. Attribution, I'll talk about that later, because fairly complicated. And then security. Security is just HTTPS versus HTTP. That sort of makes sense? Do you guys know what HTTPS and HTTP are? One is a secure version, one is a normal version. Okay, what makes the panda really angry? What makes the panda really angry? Duplicate content, DMCA warnings. You taking a 7-year-old website's content, pasting it on your better looking website, but Google knows that that content was there 7 years ago. How does it know that? Because it's been making a copy of the World Wide Web since 2000 and, oh sorry, it's been making a copy of the World Wide Web since 1997. It knows where the content came from. Okay? Improperly attributed content, thin content, meaning content that was written to add a keyword in, websites that are only text, no rich formats, deprecated code, not HTML5, not CSS3. Heavy bridging. When I say deprecated code, by the way, I mean, I don't mean PHP, right? I don't mean any of the backend code. I specifically only mean HTML5 and CSS3. And boilerplate. What is boilerplate? That's you using a site-wide element of your website to point a link to an important page. If you abuse this, so a lot of websites like do, and it works, so if there are SEOs in the room, listen up. Boilerplating works, but you shouldn't abuse it. One of the easiest ways to get an important website or an important page in your website to rank is to place that page somewhere site-wide on your website. It then gives the search engine the idea that that's a particularly important page. That's the only reason you do it. The technique is called boilerplating. And it's a little related to what Mark does. And no, it's not necessarily dirty, but it's not necessarily like that. Okay. This is a panda warning. Site-wide matches. Unnatural links from your site. You're a car website and you keep pointing to dog websites. There's something wrong with that. Right? You're a car website. You're thecarenthusiast.com. German Shepherd. Whatever. Right? There's something wrong with that. Those are unnatural things. This is the warning you receive. Another example. Big content with little or no added value. In short, thank you for killing the neuron of your audience. This is that warning. I guess you can get Google to reconsider it, by the way. So the problem with these warnings, by the way, is that once you get them, it's sort of hard to read it yourself. This one. Now, one of the things that I want to stress, while this is a panda warning, and yes, it's digital SEO. Now, why do I have a copy of this? Because Dan Petrovich is really nice. He actually was the one that posted this warning online. That is like us. I'm not sure, maybe like Mark too. I'm not sure about bots. But marketing companies are very bad at marketing themselves, right? So, yeah, he posted it out of curiosity. He posted his own penalty. But however, this is actually a warning that precedes the panda. Historically, before there were panda and penguin algorithmic and manual penalties, Google would penalize you for buying or copying content. It's a DMCA warning. So this one is an older school one. It just qualifies with panda warnings, but this is an older school warning. Pure spam! Pure spam! What does that mean? That means Google says, take your website, put it in a frying pan, eat it. Because that's all it's worth. Why are you pure spam? Because Google thinks you only built a website so that you could point to other websites. That's the only reason you've got a website. It doesn't make people smarter, nobody enjoys it, nobody goes back to it, nobody refers to it, nobody tweets, comments, nothing, right? Your website is occupying space. But that's it. Once you get this, oh look, no button. Dump your domain. That's all you can do. The moment you get this, don't bother a save. Dump your domain. Okay, this is what those penalty warnings look like. This is your traffic. Boom. No more traffic. This is you trying to do a recovery. But yes, this is what happens to your traffic when Google sends you those warnings. Does that make sense? Okay, let's move on. Oh, SEO visibility. Now, here's a thing. Your traffic on Panda warning will do this. Your rankings, though, will do that. It's slow. The Panda kills your relevance slowly. It doesn't drop you from search. There is only one action that Google, actually two actions that Google can do to remove you completely from search. The first activity is called the de-index, meaning they remove you from their database. And the other one is called the sandbox, meaning they remove you from the database for about 6 months. It happened to Jason. Yeah, Jason. Against Samsung. Okay. Yeah, that's your search visibility. So what do? In order to nurse your website back from a Panda warning, address the cause of the penalty, send an email to Google via your search console to request a review. If there's no manual penalty, don't request a review because that's why you're requesting it. And the rankings will recover slowly if you address it every 2 to 3 weeks. Okay? Still with me? Yes? No, getting sleepy, getting late. Okay, this one, the Penguin algorithm. Out of the 2 algorithms, SEOs are more afraid of this one. Out of all the algorithms, SEOs are most afraid of this one. What is the Penguin? Okay, first off, why is it called the Penguin? Is it because it was written by an engineer whose surname was Penguin?
Look like a penguin.
What? No. So why did they call it a penguin? Because it was so fun seeing the panda catch a lot of wind that they decided to name the second one another cute black and white animal. By the way, the penguin is probably named the penguin more because of SEOs than Google itself. But Google does adopt the names that SEOs attribute to algorithms. Sometimes, they'll just correct it. They thought calling the panda a farmer was stupid, so they decided to release it as the panda algorithm. Okay, what's the penguin? According to Moz, SEOs still believe that 70% of rankings are influenced by backlinks, which means a lot of SEOs are still spammers. So, they rolled this out in April 2012, and what it tries to do is precisely my first slide. It takes a look at your digital footprint. So, let's talk about backlinks. This one is another core metric group, the trust metric. What does it do? Can I get a nice looking guy in the room? Who thinks they're a nice looking guy? Anton, come here. Come here. It's gonna be yours, it's gonna be the candy beauty. Come here. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Anton. Come here. Okay, right where we can he be seen on our yes. Okay, awesome. Okay. Anton, do you think you're a good looking guy? Yes. Okay. That, a self-vouch, is called on page. You think you're a good looking guy? Whatever. Okay, fine. So him thinking he's a good looking guy is on page. The thing that the panda looks at, right? Okay. I'm gonna close my eyes and I think you guys should raise your hands, but don't look at whoever raises their hands. No judgment. Who among you guys agree that Anton is a good looking guy? Raise your hands. Who among you guys think Anton is a good looking guy? Raise your hands. Oh, you homophobe guys. Okay, keep your hands raised. Okay, everybody look around. That is off page. That's off page. Now, if I gave Anton 10,000 pesos in 100 peso bills to go around the room, drop 100 peso bills, and tell you guys, hey, raise your hand when he asks that again. Hey, raise your hand. Yeah. And then I asked it at the end of the program, and I said, who among you guys think Anton is a good looking guy? And all of a sudden, all of you raise your hands. That's what this looks for. It looks for who got paid to vouch. Did that make sense? Okay, thank you very much. That's all. So the process of dropping 50, 100 peso bills into your pockets is what Google refers as black hat, right? According to Google, it's fair for you to get a link from someone else with money. It is not fair that that link transfers power. So this is going to be a bit technical. Google says it's okay for you to pass traffic. It's not okay for you to pass power. Remember indexing budget? You cannot transfer your indexing budget to someone else if they pay you. How do you prevent it from transferring indexing budget? Code call will follow. So you can point a link to anybody you want, but if they pay you, you can't point a natural link to them. It has to be a commercial link. A commercial link has the no follow attribute. Okay, the Penguin is not a real-time algorithm. Actually, it's more baked into the Hummingbird than Panda is because it doesn't do an every 2 to 3 week spin. The Penguin is baked deeply into the Hummingbird. It indexes along with the rest of the engine, except it gets its own refreshes. It refreshes at a different rate as the core algorithm. It indexes separately, refreshes slowly, because it doesn't have the whole weight of the Hummingbird behind it. Does that make sense? It only looks for backlinks. It doesn't look at your content. It doesn't care about your content. It only cares about content outside your website that talks about you. And does it look like you paid for that content? That's what it looks for. If you did, the penguin becomes an angry bird, right? I couldn't find an angry penguin photos. It looks like they don't get angry as animals. So I got an angry bird in penguin photos. How do you make it mad? You buy links. You do spammy link exchanges. You post site-wide links on your website to somebody else's website, or somebody does that for you. Incorrectly attributed links, meaning you've got a paid banner on someone else's website, but it does not have a no follow attribute. Unrelated content links and heavy exact matching, meaning, I need someone's name. What's your name? John. Great. What's your name, guys?
John.
Okay. Who's the guy in the green shirt? John. When you guys talk about it tomorrow, like who the guy that got called out was, are you guys gonna call him John or are you guys gonna call him the guy in the green shirt?
Anton.
No. Okay. You guys are probably going to remember him better as John. John, how do your friends call you? John, right? How many of them call you that in the green shirt? No, they're probably not in the green shirt every day anyway, right? So why does this matter? My nephews were here, and my nephews called me Tito Ban. That's what they call me. If I went home and my nephew suddenly called me, oh, hi, GM. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Right? That is not natural behavior. The natural behavior of human beings is to call people by their names. To call people by their names. And then we have terms of endearment. The term of endearment is the Samsonite. A good term of endearment might be luggage. Right? Luggage bag, heavy duty luggage bags. These are what they would look like, the Samsonite's website. Those are its terms of endearment. But it would be highly unusual to be primarily referred to by your term of endearment by most people instead of your name. Right? I would be shocked if all of you guys by tomorrow suddenly started calling me Tito Ban. Well, I'm not making money out of Christmas. How do you call me that? Anybody that calls me that just gets money out of me on Christmas. So, no, it would be highly unusual for you to call me that. I would think it would be abnormal, right? Most people would refer to me as Bernard. That's natural human behavior. This is what this force is. So, what else? A poorly distributed footprint. What's a poorly distributed footprint? It means, so, Anton, right? And I asked you guys if he's a good looking guy. And he is offended that not enough of you guys raise your hands. So he contrives with, I don't know, John. He contrives with John. And he tells John, distribute this bundle of money and pay people off. And pay people off to raise their hands. Right? John does exactly that. But then in the middle of the process, John makes a decision. John decides, I'm really shy of women, so I guess I'll just pay the men off. And so the next time Anton comes here, I go, who thinks Anton is a good looking guy? Some of the women still raise their hand, but this time all the guys raise their hands. Unnatural distribution, right? That's an unnatural distribution. It looks for that. Or the textual relationship, meaning you're a car site, we talk about birds. Doesn't make sense. Unless you're a silver car, those birds statistically hoop more on silver cars. Poor page rank distribution. Okay, let's do the Anton exercise again. Let's say he tried to bribe you guys with $100, but then he realized there are only 100 people in that room, and that's not going to make me feel good. John, call up, I don't know, 100, 200 street kids, and break this down into 20 peso bills. So all of a sudden we're here in this room, and out there are 200 street kids, and he gave 20 pesos to each. And then I asked, who thinks Anton is a good looking guy? And they all raise their hands. The problem is, that's not the natural audience, right? How do they know him? That's not a natural audience, and it's not a natural distribution. Why aren't anybody in this room raising their hands, right? It looks for that too. Spammy link types are quality links, someone trying to drop a link inside your comment box. Automated links are old school SEO tools, SEO, article demons, spinners, whatever. Links for penalized domains. Oh, this one, watch out for, but a little hard to detect. This is where the value of pre-2011 SEOs come in. New school SEOs, you guys don't know what early values are. Because you never built them. Any pre-2011 SEO will see a domain and will know how dirty it is. So that's a problem because when websites carry penalties, when you point a backlink to someone, you pass the power, but guess what? You also pass any stains you got. You don't want your backlinks. The last one is, of course, websites that Google doesn't trust. If you have a lot of backlinks from websites that Google doesn't trust, Google is eventually going to figure out, why do I distrust most of the people that talk about this guy, right? And just like everybody else, Google will use birds of a feather. Penguin penalties. The first one, a manual action, a natural links to your site. This one, not horrible. The only thing this penalty says is you got a page in trouble. That specific page is in trouble. Not your website, not your entire domain. Only that page is in trouble. And that page seems to have purchased links, unnatural links, acquired links, business-related links that go to your website. But Google will also give you the benefit of the doubt. It will say it may or may not be your fault. There's really nothing to do so far. Here's the next one. Detected unnatural links to your site. They're reviewing you. If this judgment is unfair, submit your site for reconsideration. What you typically do is you go to Search Console, you download your backlinks, and then if you think some of the websites there don't do credit to your domain, you email the webmasters and tell them, please remove the link to my site, please remove the link to my site. And if they won't, then you tell Google, I tried, they would remove it, can you break the relationship between them and me? And you execute a process called disavow, which is a different story. This is what a penguin penalty looks like. It's a sudden crash in both traffic and rankings. And it is incredibly difficult to recover. This is a penguin penalty. It will bleed you very slowly. But you will also recover pretty slowly. Okay? Unlike the panda, you don't recover from a penguin. If it tells you go back 7 steps, you're back 7 steps and that's where you are. A penguin drop is sudden. There's no sudden increase, and in the event of a manual action, you gotta do a disavow or a reconsideration request. Those who are in consideration requested there is no message inside webmaster tools. Yeah, that's what I said. Okay, a few more. A pigeon. What's this? No, it's not another black and white animal. What's a pigeon? Yes, it's a bird. Okay. When you guys do a Google search, how many search results do you see? You see an ad, you see the normal organic result. What else do you see? Maps, right? You see maps. Now, the reason those three ads are there is because Google says, life isn't counted in seconds, it's counted in moments. And according to Google, there are three kinds of moments. I want to know moments, organic results. I want to go moments, maps, and I want to buy moments, ads. The reason you're seeing so many results and you're seeing map results appear inside your normal search is because of this algorithm. And it's influenced by location, distance, name, address, phone number, consistency across the World Wide Web, and local directories. This is not a penalizing algorithm. There are only two penalizing algorithms in the history of Google's algorithm updates. Only the Panda and the Penguin. This one just rewards you. Okay? And this is what it used to look like. That's a 7-pack. That's how Google used to display it 6 months ago. This is what it looks like now. The reason this appears, along with your normal results, is because of this algorithm. So no, there's no angry penguin. Bonus round. Last. What's that? So there's a lot of chatter on the World Wide Web. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. It's not a penalizing algorithm. There are no phantom penalties. It leaves no praises in your webmaster tools. What most people don't understand about the Google algorithms is all the algorithm updates that got rolled out between 1998 to 2011, they're all beneficial. If an algorithm got updated and rolled out and you lost rankings, it's not because Google was displeased with you. It's because it thought that site was better than yours. So the function of making somebody rank better than you is different from the function of deliberately bringing you down. Only two algorithms have the function or capability of bringing you down. The Panda and the Penguin. What is the Panda? So the Panda looks for bad content. The Panda looks for great content. It looks for great content. And the moment it thinks that the content is great, it rewards you with better visibility. It rewards you with better visibility. And so it defines poor content as keyword count, high keyword density, listing goes off of this, low originality, and a lot of outbound links. In the eyes of this algorithm, this is what comprises bad content. In fact, for a lot of informational keywords, the average number of words inside the informational page is 1,600 words. So in short, a phantom is a reverse panda. That's it. You guys have questions?
All right, we're opening the floor for questions. By the way, it does not look like a panda, it looks like a bunny. You're reversed. Yes, we have a question here in the back.
What about if we want like royalty free images or if you link to videos to your website, do you get penalized for that? Because it's duplicate content technically, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not. So when you use a royalty-free image, if you credit where you got the image from, it's not. Also remember that the image can get an attribute, meaning you give it an attribute in different picture somewhere, you get one of them that's unauthorized to where you got it from. Or if you're not technical, at the bottom of the image, you cite the source. That's it. So no, it's not duplicate content. YouTube videos, it's not duplicate content. So we ran a test on 64 websites where we created we used a plugin that imported contextually similar videos and changed them up inside those web pages. We did not manually select videos and put them there. When we added the videos to the article with the image, the indexing went from 7 days to 3 days. So Google doesn't care that it's a YouTube video. It knows that the video is on YouTube. It cares more that there are no content formats inside the page. And once there's only two big to anyway, right? If somebody wants to click it.
But if the image is used like a background for a site,
there's no place to put a caption or anything, so it's a background.
If it's royalty free, that's still not an issue. Google only makes it an issue if you claim a copyright for the image or somebody files a DMCA company, and they don't let you copyright after this.
So you can also include it in the blog post. No issue.
Yes, not at all. As long as it's royalty free. What else?
Yes, ma'am, in the back.
This doesn't cover your presentation. I think you asked about graduation.
Rank rank AI. Okay. What about it? Because there's so many things to ask about it.
I'd like to know your thoughts about it. What are the things that you need to know about graduation?
Okay. There's nothing you need to know about rank rank yet. So in order to answer your question, I want to explain something about the concept of AI. Again, really science. The only thing that you guys need to know about rank rank today is that it's learning. That's all. That's the only thing it's doing. It does not apply anything yet. So, it's like a baby. It's like a white-old baby. It's not even walking yet. It's not even talking yet. Rank rank is what they call big AI. Big AI has one very distinct capability compared to small AI. And unfortunately, Siri has become small AI. She's not big AI anymore. Her limit to learn is your speech. And then after that, it's gone. She has no ability to predict her behavior anymore. They killed it. Why did they kill it? Because Google got the head of AI for Apple. He's on Google. And that's why rank rank is there. In order for big AI to work, the AI must learn. You cannot pre-program it to think in a certain way. The only way you deal with big AI is by giving it large data sets and then guide it in terms of how we can understand it. That's all rank rank is doing. It has no influence on search at all. So what governs search is still the hummingbird. And the hummingbird is not AI. It's a very, very complex algorithm. It, seems intelligent, but isn't intelligent because it cannot change gears. It will only do what it's programmed to do. So that's what the hummingbird is. The rank rank does not influence search yet. Not to a significant degree. Did that answer the question? There's nothing to know about it yet. They don't know what it will do, by the way. In my opinion, rank rank will become standard.
Right? One more question? Okay.
My name is Anto. I have a question about the location algorithms.
Okay.
So, our company has 5 branches that are generally the same family name.
Okay.
All of them are located in different locations, and we have 5 different websites. We have more or less different content. So I'm just curious if we all are releasing a Google Maps, we're going to have issues with having the same brand name or different location.
No, we will not.
It's different content on the website.
No, it will not have a problem. As long as the phone numbers are different. So we've already established the addresses are different, right? The phone numbers must be different also if the names are the same. What matters though is that, so let's say you've got branch A and it's got address A and phone number A. And then you've got branch B, but branch B's name is the same as branch A's, but it's got address B and phone number B. And then you got branch C, which is labeled branch A, but it has address C and phone number C, right? It's important that you list each branch separately somewhere else also. And that the way you input the name, the address, and the phone number down to the syntax is consistent. If their phone numbers are the same, it won't work. Only one element must be different. So Google will respect the same address, different company name, different phone number, but it will not respect, and it will also respect same name, different address, different phone number. It will not respect it when 2 elements of the name, address, and the phone number are the same. Right? So why does it respect different names against the same address but a different phone number? Because there are places like this is shared workspaces. Guess what? This is called 29 Legazpi. All the businesses here will register themselves as 1229 Legazpi, right? That's not good. So that's what we do with it. You create, you also submit it to authoritative listings online on each branch. Anybody else?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, but everybody here, Joel. Okay, so right now we're gonna be asking, is there anything that you would like to plug? Shameless plug as well.
Okay.
Last one, because we need to.
Okay, so I got asked this. This is my only shameless plug, and I'm doing it for Eugene. In SEO Summit, I got asked, what's the best way to learn SEO? My fellow panelists said experiment and whatnot. And I will still say what I said then. Get a job. Get a job. So why get a job? Because you can experiment all you like. You can run your blog, you can own a website and run it for about $32 a year, by the way, hosting, whatever. You can do that. It's whatever, uber cheap. But you're not going to have a playground. You're not going to have a playground. At TrueLogic, our guys have over 600 websites to play with. Over 700 websites to play with. Not counting client websites. They have over 600 websites to play with. They can experiment with one search factor, apply it across multiple websites, and see if it works. A guy on my night shift was trying to figure out, is there a critical value to the number of directory listings you need to create before you appear on the blended search on a map? So at first, he targeted 35 websites and he placed 35 listings on them. It didn't work. He upped it to 65. It didn't work. He upped it to 68. It still does not work. But outside the office, he does not have that playground, right? He doesn't have the manpower, doesn't have the resources, doesn't have the websites to experiment on. So, in my opinion, the best way to learn SEO is still to get a job. Because then, but work with a company that's got a playground. No playground, no go. You don't want to listen to just whoever is loudest. The problem with SEO is the wrong way to do it. But in most companies, it's going to be whoever's loudest that is right. Because SEO is an opinion. If you're not ready to have an opinion, you don't want to be in this industry. You got to be willing to be wrong. Because I get it right all the time. So, shameless plug is, get a job, that's Eugene, he's recruiting. Or email him at careers at TrueLogic.
Thank you so much. We're going to be giving out some prizes, and we have a raffle here also for the ticket for the .con that we're calling it. We also have some prizes here, but I don't know. Okay, do you want to ask questions? Or who's the early bird? He left already. Early bird also left early. Left early.
We need either early registrants or the...
Wenshen.
Who's this?
Wenshen. We have a Wenshen over here.
Oh, I didn't want that.
Miss Wenshen, she's the early bird, so we're going to give her a mug. Congratulations! This is what you get for being early. Who's the last one who came in? You get nothing, because that's what you get for being late. All right, so any questions you would like to ask? So that we can give away?
No, actually, did we get a registry of business cards?
Okay, so business cards, we'll have it as a raffle as well. All right, business cards. Put your business cards in and you get a prize. I'll give you 10 seconds. Whoever gives it in more than 10 seconds, you're not eligible. Okay, 10. You don't even have to come in front, just take it out. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So we got sling bags and one travel mug left. First winner is from Adobe Magazine, Miss Anna Gamboa. Congratulations. Thank you so much for joining. Next. It is Michelle Therese Diaz from Vidette. Congratulations! You wonder why you have so much energy. Woo! Okay, next one. From kilometer 0 BH, Miss, I'm guessing this is a Miss Elvira Manlulu. Right, okay. Congratulations! And our last two bags. No, I'll choose the last three winners so that I can take it out of the bag. Okay, I got our last three winners. That means these are not the winners, because it's bad to say those are engaged. From Zip Match, Miss Riza Lorraine Santa Ana. Congratulations! And our last winner for this is Miss Francis Clarice Campo from Carnage.ph. And our last winner, who will be getting the travel mug, is Marijo Endriga. Thank you so much. Okay, and now it is time for our raffle draw. I don't know what happened here, though. What? Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so technology doesn't like me. We will be having it. I think everyone can see it, right? So it's electronic. Madam Daya, all of your names are here. If you've registered, then you are part of this. No, TrueLogic is not part of it because you're already going to be there anyway. So it's like useless. So if you're TrueLogic or if you're not here, you do not get the tickets. All right? If you left early, you're not part of it. Yeah, presence is needed for you to win this. Go! Da-da-da-da. Okay. Angelo Paulo! Congratulations! We need a picture. Ayan, yung sa photo. Selfie tayo. That's like, consolation prize actually now. And then we will get your details right here so that we can have, we will send you the tickets. Yay! Alright, so thank you so much once again to everybody. You may join our SEO Shots 4. Once again, it's a different set of speakers, a different set of topics, and we'll be asking you to fill out the survey forms so that you will get your certificates. I'm asking for help. Okay, yeah. So please do fill it out, and then we have speaker 1, 2, and 3. I hope you remember them. So speaker 1 is Mr. Mark, speaker 2 is Mr. Carlo, and of course, speaker 3 is none other than Mr. Burns. I hope you feel the burns.
Yeah.
Really? Feel the burns?
Yeah, we segregated the company. Itamar knows that burn, baby, burn.
Burn, baby, burn. I like that. So thank you once again to all of our sponsors, RevStreet, TrueLogic, Online Solutions, Space, and these other professionals. Thank you.